Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're watching from. My name is Alfred Amuzu, and welcome to the Ghana Agenda. Today, we're going to have a very interesting show. We'll be talking about the address given by the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, at Ashesi University, addressing digitalization of Ghana, what the administration has done so far. That, in fact, it is the current government, the Nana Akufo-Addo government's priority, is the objective to ensure that they digitize Ghana because there are enough or a lot of economic gains to be made. And we will look at this actually in a bigger framework of digital transformation and what role successive governments have played in digitizing Ghana. I'll be joined by Dr. Lawrence. I'll be joined by Dr. Lawrence, who's already in studio with me. Welcome to the show, Dr. Lawrence. How are you today?
I'm fine. Alfred, how are you too?
Good. I'm doing wonderful. Dr. Lawrence, so we are waiting for the rest of the team to join. You've been on the show a couple of times. I was just laying down the topic we'll be talking about, but as I'm doing that, I want it to be interactive. So you and I will do that together. And then we'll wait for the rest of the team to join and we can start the show. But if today is the first time people are seeing you, tell them quickly about yourself as we wait for others to join.
Yeah, but Alfred, my name was not even on the flyer. So how come I am the first to even come on the show when those people whose names are on the flyer are still waiting to join? But you know, as a member of the Boy Scout, our motto is that be prepared. So I'm always ready and prepared to talk about Ghana, talk about NDC, and talk about myself as well. Well, I mean, I am Dr. Lawrence. I am a member of the NDC USA communication team. I am the founder of Friends of John Dramani Mahama North American chapter, and I'm also the founder of the Diaspora Progressive Movement in the United States. I'm a former financial secretary of the NDC USA, and I play various roles. I'm also a writer, and writing is my hobby. As a matter of fact, I am an accountant by profession, and I do everything in between. Let me take this opportunity to greet all NDC members who have taken their time to listen to us at this moment.
Okay.
Let me greet our incoming flag bearer, Honorable His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and his wife Lodina, and the party executives, Dr. Fosuan Pofu, Ase Dunkete, and all the rest, Barbara Asamoah, and what was his name? Akamba, and the rest of the people.
Right. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming and for being the first. I think the word has gone out to the rest of the team that, especially if you're on the flyer, don't let Dr. Lawrence come before you. You should be the first one here before everybody. So
exactly.
So I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad you pointed to that. Thank you so much for coming today. We'll be talking about something very interesting. Dr. Bawumia is talking about digitization, and I want us to talk about the bigger picture, digital transformation. We are also joined by Lifetime Legacy and Daniel Nanaya. So Daniel Nanaya is here. Lifetime Legacy is here. Guys, welcome to the show. Let's start from Daniel Nanaya. Daniel, thanks for coming. I'm really excited that you are answering to this call again. This is your third time on the show. You are ranking the mileage already, which is good. We appreciate it anytime you can make time for us and join the show. Today, we are talking about digital transformation, not Bawumia's just digitalization. So I hope you're prepared. Dr. Lawrence is here. This is the first time you're meeting Dr. Lawrence. It's gonna be tough on you. I'm warning you.
No, I mean, I know Daniel. We've been meeting.
You're on shows. Okay, great.
Yeah, just that we are meeting here for the first time, but I know him very well, and he knows me. He knows I can beat him all the time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you hear it. So, Daniel, if somebody's watching you for the first time, take a quick second to introduce yourself, and then we'll move to legacy so we can jump right into the conversation.
All right. Thank you, our listeners. Thank you, our guest. Thank you, our host. And thank you, our viewers as well. Wherever you are watching us live, we appreciate your time. As you may know, my name is Daniel. I go by the name Nanaya Wasari or Hamponsa, or you can call me NY for short. So I am one of the MPP USA communication members. And as Dr. Lawrence did put it, I mean, I've been meeting them on so many platforms. So today I'm excited that they are all here again. It's always an excitement to be in the same place with your MPP friends, you know. That way we can share ideas and then challenge ourselves and then see how we can make our country better. Everybody is for the good of our country. So thank you all for coming.
All right, thank you for those good introductions. You've been beating them on platforms. So today we'll see how it goes down here. I'm excited. I'm ready for this. Lifetime Legacy. Welcome to the show again. We missed you a couple of weeks back to back, and we are glad you can join us again. Quick introduction. The Paul Isosu is joining us. Paul, welcome to the show. Here from Lifetime Legacy, and we go to Paul. Lifetime Legacy.
Yeah, good afternoon to our viewers and my senior comrades here. It's a lovely and nice to be on the platform again with my brothers. My name is Apollo Gastor, NDC member, USA, former Ablekuma West constituency youth organizer for NDC. I have played so many roles from constituency, region, and to the national level, in exception of 2020 election. So, yeah, that is me.
All right. Thanks and welcome to the show, Lifetime Legacy. Paul is also you're hiding from us, Paul. So, welcome to the show, Paul. Today, okay, as soon as we can get Paul, we'll have him.
Now, where is my brother Ifa?
Ifa is supposed to come, or if Ifa doesn't come today,
I think
Alfred.
I'll reach out to you. Yes, sir. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Alfred. I mean, I hope he's doing good.
We are doing good. We are doing good.
But so Alfred, my boss is Paul. So why do you bring me and Paul together? Once Paul is here, can I ask that I leave?
Dr. Lawrence, hold on, Dr. Lawrence. That's what I was going to say. That I have my able communicator, Dr. Lawrence here. So I will try to yield the floor for him today to deal with the issues because he's competent to deal with the issues
stop
today.
Stop it. Don't start it. Don't start it. And I want to leave, so I mean you can.
But I want both of you though. This is very important topic that we want both voices.
Yeah, you guys, you both could have different ideas, different perspectives.
We can handle it. It's not.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. I'll be here, Dr. Lawrence. Let's stay here because I can tell you for a fact, Dr. Lawrence, that Ifa and Daniel Nanayao, they've received briefing from the Jubilee House, and they are coming here this afternoon just to throw dust into the eyes of the public and we over here. But as I stated on the group chat, Ifa is going to run away from me today because he knows that there is nothing that he will come and tell us here that to convince us. When it comes to the indicators, we are going to talk about indicators today, and we are going to lay the bare facts, and we are going to expect the host to punch holes into anybody's who put up fake figures here this afternoon. So I am happy to be here, and I hope and I pray that my good brother Ifa joins us this afternoon on this show. Nanayao, as for Nanayao there, I'll leave him for Dr. Lawrence to deal with him because Nanayao and Dr. Lawrence, they are in the finance field. They know they are finance experts and all those stuff. So I'll leave those aspects for Dr. Lawrence to deal with him. And by the way, Nanayao, have you been able to do the Photoshop class 101?
You think everything is scientific? Yeah, some things are politics, so don't be too much white.
I'm happy to be here anyway. I'm happy to be here.
All right. Welcome, Paul, and welcome again to everybody. Today's show I know is going to be interesting. So, guys,
Please, before you commence this, can I make some quick suggestion?
Right.
Yeah, I think it will be okay if you try to know each of us expertise in terms of background, not politically.
Yeah,
Like the way.
we can take that to the back. We can discuss that. Now we are live, so let's go into the show. People are watching. All right, guys. So we heard the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, spoke at CSC about digitization, and I'm going to play videos from that speech. He said a lot. And I want us to react to the things we hear. I think he narrowed the conversation to digitalization. I can be corrected if you guys think otherwise. I think he limited the conversation to digitalization of Ghana, but not digital transformation of Ghana, because I believe digital transformation is a bigger scope, involves infrastructure, etc. But I like the guy who is being accused of getting a briefing from the Jubilee House to start with us. But let me play this video first, right? And here you hear Bawumia talking about. Hold up, let me see.
Under the leadership of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo.
Okay, so Bawumia is going to talk about the goal, the vision, the leadership of Nana Akufo-Addo, the vision, what they were going to do with digitalization and how they were going to use that to solve problems that they came to face. And then we'll go into what they inherited, because then he talked about the system they inherited was not fit for purpose. What have they done to that system to get it to where it is today? Even if it's actually true that the system they inherited is not fit for purpose. So we'll go into that, and then we'll go into the individual areas where he talked about how he answered questions on things that the digitalization of Ghana is doing to revenue mobilization, domestic revenue mobilization, how it's being used in the educational sector, how it's being used to verify insurance, etc. So let's take the first video, which addresses the entire vision, and I like the Jubilee House's voice on this one.
We have focused on pursuing digitalization as part of our economic strategy. Because the fourth industrial revolution is upon us, and we must be part of the modern world. Also, there is a growing body of empirical evidence that illustrates the capacity of digital technology to create jobs, significantly boost productivity, increase income, and support wealth creation. For example, the World Economic Forum's Global Information Report estimates that an increase of 10% in a country's digitalization score fuels 0.75% growth in GDP per capita. It is therefore clear that going forward, countries that fail to digitalize their economies are likely to be uncompetitive in the emerging global digital revolution.
Alfred, you are on mute.
Yeah, so fourth industrial revolution is upon us. We needed to digitalize our economy in order to be competitive. These are the things Bawumia says. What is the Jubilee House's agenda? And we are positioning this whole conversation in Bawumia talking about the infrastructure, because the conversation about infrastructure, a lot of people will say that access has been made available, and the issue of access is no longer a worry in the word per se, but the use of what has been provided. And Dr. Bawumia is saying he's finding uses for, or he's creating ways to use it. Tell me exactly what the plan is.
All right. Thank you, Amuzu. Thank you, our listeners. Amuzu, in life, you must have a vision and a purpose. and the reason why you do what you do. Otherwise, there's no what do you call it? A meaning to life, right? So I always tell people it is not about you saying something with your mouth or just wishing something and thinking that by just mere wishes things happen. No, in life things don't happen. You have to work things out. You have to be deliberate. You have to have a plan, and you have to keep, the discipline whilst working that thing out with the goal that you achieve the vision. That is how corporate worlds work. That is how the world really works. It is not some magic. You don't sit somewhere and just pray, and think that things will fall on you like manna. So on that score, let me come back to what we seek to do as a party. And like I'm saying, if you disagree with us, that is fine. You can disagree with us. That is what we took to the Ghanaian people to ask for their mandate with the hope that what vision we had that we shared with them, we will come into office and live by them and work them out and hope that it will take us where we want to go. If you don't believe in that vision and you believe in a different thing, fair enough. That is up to you to convince the people of Ghana to accept that and then come on board and then, help you execute that. So fundamentally, that is what I would say. That is the essence of politics. Competitive ideas, competitive solutions that, the people that gives you power will have to understand what you're doing. Communication is key.
So that today we are going to try to get a lot of the issues tackled so that we can, when we transition to the short videos, we can keep them in. So
Let me just lay this basis. Marketing is key. There's a reason why there's a marketing department for every company. Why do you think that Apple still have a marketing department? Apple is Apple, right? They are not everywhere. Why do you think that Apple will have to remind us that there's a company called Apple? You think it's for nothing? They just do it for doing its sake? So if you don't understand how the model by which these companies or the world operates, and you want to live in your old ways, then you can continue to live in there, and then you will not get the outcomes that you want to look for. So let me come to the vision. The vision of the MPP before, when we had, taken over this country or when we're campaigning, the idea was that, in the past, we've been talking so much about inefficiencies in our economy, and then the idea that the informal sector the capacity of the informal sector was not really helping. Government was not reaching the informal sector in many ways. That was a problem. The NDC themselves acknowledged that the informal sector was not being reached in a way that is efficient, so that their participation in this economy, we can track them and see how they are contributing. We've been talking about the tax base, that, just the same few people paying taxes, and each time one government wants to collect taxes, it finds an easy way of putting it on goods and services.
But this is something every government has been doing. It's not novel. It's not like something you came to start trying to improve system. There were foundations laid before you came. So I want you to address what you did. What is the vision?
I'll come to that. Every government, there were foundation laid before every government. So that argument doesn't mean anything. It's about what you do. Well, before the NDC, there was a Ghana, right? So if you want to go, we can go to Gogisberg. We can go to before Gogisberg, if that is the case. So fundamentally, that is, a fact. Every government has laid some foundation. It is up upon the next government to utilize that foundation and use it in ways that will make more economic benefits to them. So that is not even an argument here. So the issue is that we decided that we needed to find a way to formalize this economy in so many ways. And how do we do that? What is the solution that, you have to use to do that? We have existing infrastructure. Fiber optics have been laid in this country before the MPP. And when the MPP came, they also laid some. It was as if when the MPP came, they didn't do anything. Remember, Vodafone that you used to know, before the MPP came, remember Kufuor had to privatize Vodafone, right? Sell it to some investors so that they can put strategic resources in there to keep Vodafone going. Today, Vodafone is operating. The NDC folks have issues with that. This is the same telecommunication industry. The strategic positioning of that industry, to the extent that today, like I said last week, John Mahama, I didn't even know last week Bawumia was going to do this lecture. John Mahama also came, and before MPP, John Mahama has started something in that sector. The Malaysians have come in. So that development has been gradual. Ghana Telecom, if you remember Ghana Telecom, those times you used to have a lot of wires, right? The telephone call, you go to the post office. We've moved on. Each government adds on. And when we came, we are like, okay, based on this infrastructure that already exists, we have to do some other things technology, you can have technology, but it's the way you use it that makes the difference. We have to be innovative about the existing, platforms, and try and use it in a way that will maximize the benefit for our economy and our people. And one of those was to ensure that you remember e-switch. If you remember the idea of e-switch, initially we were looking at payment systems, and it came out that yes, we should do e-switch. There was this e-switch system that was being developed, and when our NDC folks came, for some reason that was not pushed the way we wanted it. That is fine. They might have a different idea. And then we came back and we are like, yes, e-switch, the way it was working, getting that what they call point of sale device. You remember the point of sale device?
Yeah.
They used to preach a lot about the point of sale device, and then people adopting that was not getting the mileage that it really required. So the government sat there and said, why do we have separate systems not communicating to themselves? So in IT, when we say interoperability, the whole idea about interoperability is that you have different platform systems that are just like you have Android, you have Android, you have Apple. Everybody has different operating systems. Say you have Linux, you have what do you call it? Windows. You have these are different operating systems. So the idea of interoperability is that even if you have different operating systems, we should find a common way of letting this different operating system communicate among themselves.
Yeah.
So that is the whole idea of interoperability. So we have these different systems: MTN, Vodafone, Tigo. I mean, all the other smaller ones you can think of, and each person was doing their own things in their own silos.
Right.
We were not maximizing the benefit, because if I didn't have MTN and I want to transfer money to somebody who has Vodafone, then that is a problem. So the idea was to build this common platform so that it's easy to do it, not just within the telecom space, but also to connect that to the banking space, because the telecom sector was separate from the banking sector. So this was the architecture that we inherited. And the NDC had started something. Remember when we came, they had given the contract. And then it was 1 billion at the time at Bank of Ghana. We came, we reviewed it, and we had somebody to do it for 4 million. And we were even laughing at them that this thing, you guys don't understand. We're just going to throw money 1 billion to some people to come and do something that we could have done innovatively using 4 million Ghana cedi. And then we start to work to do the interoperability. The whole idea was to ensure that when we were campaigning, we said that we want financial inclusion. Financial inclusion means that everybody must be able to participate in the financial system. And so the interoperability was a big way of ensuring that those in the informal sector and those who did not have official bank accounts could have some form of financial products, like today you see with the Momo. And remember, before Momo, Kenya had started this whole Momo thing, and we have seen the impact in Kenya. They call it the M-Pesa or something. And so when we saw that, we were like, why is it that Kenya has the same telecom infrastructure like we have, and we are not having this M-Pesa, the equivalent of M-Pesa, what we call the Momo?
Okay,
let me wrap up. We want to work to ensure that interoperability will be our way of realizing our vision of bringing the informal sector on board and having financial inclusion. And that is why Bawumia put it that everybody will have a bank account. Bank account is not the traditional bank account that that you go in, you have
the wallet.
The idea is that what that traditional bank account can do, your current Momo account can do the same thing. It is what it can do that matters. It is not the traditional nature you see it that really matters. That is not the point. If it can do the same thing like a bank account, effectively it is a bank account. But if you want to communicate that to the public, you can't communicate it in new technological. You have to communicate in a way that they can relate to. That is the essence of communication. Some of these NDC folks, they get confused when we are using our own terms to try to explain to the people, for them to understand and be at par with us what we mean and what we say we are going to do, so that they have the idea of equivalencies in their mind about what we are talking about. And so I'm proud that today we've been able to build on that system, and we've been able to move further. And today also we've been able to take the national ID that we started, that the NDC, for some reason, they were very slow at it. I know the NDC brought these people, the margins people, they brought them. And I think this company proved that they were very, very efficient. They knew the terrain, and what they were doing was really well, better than even the previous one. So to some extent, this current company that is doing the ID, that the NDC I then brought on board, they really showed some good technical sound of producing this ID card. And when we came on board and we're like, okay, they are good, we didn't have to stop them. We reviewed their product. The product made sense from the technical perspective. It was competent enough. We took them on board. We structured it. We redefined their focus. We gave them the resources. And then off they went to work. Remember, Kennedy Japan was fighting us for giving the contract to these people. He was saying that
actually go to the individual areas so we can address.
So I think that we've put in our mouth where our campaign proposals were, because we knew these are the fundamental blocks. We need to quickly invest in this area and then bring it up to speed. And I'm happy to say that today we've come that far, and the Vice President was only giving Ghanaians the update as to how far we've come and where we are taking this whole process to, and how everybody has to be knowledgeable or know about these things, that we are building the system that I've been talking to you about. The system. We need a system, and this is the fundamental.
People say you are building applications and you're calling them systems, but we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that when we let me go to Paul. Paul, I want us to. I know this guy. I know Nanayao took a lot of time to address the question of what the vision is, but I want short answers so we can capture this thing since 6, because we have a lot of things to talk about. The MPP is saying, or you heard Nanayao, he's saying that what they've inherited, it was not fit for purpose. There was no way. We're not interoperable when they came into power. That the infrastructure existed, all right, but they found use for it, and that was what they sold to the electorate. What do you say to that?
Well, thank you very much.
And I know where you are going to come from, because I know you are going to say that the digital transformation is needed for somebody to even think about use for it. But lay it down for me. What are the pillars in this digital transformation? What are some of the necessary key ingredients needed for the success the Vice President is talking about today?
Well, thank you very much. And unfortunately, my brother Nanaya was trying to, present the case in a way that you look good in the sight of your listeners this afternoon. Because when listening to all over their communicators, they've been exposed all over. If you look at all the, radio stations, the TV stations, anytime this debate comes up, the MPP communicators who appear on the show are disgraced to a level whereby they start fidgeting, and something similar is going to happen to our brother this afternoon. Well, let me start and let me make and lay this emphasis clear. Look, there's a difference between digitalization and digitization. Okay, the Vice President, all what he's been talking about is digitalization,
right?
Not digitization. But digitalization is built on digitization,
right?
And if you talk about what is digitization is whereby you leverage on information system technology structures,
right,
to build and make your business a very successful one, whereby you can do away with a lot of human intervention. So digitization is simple building or leveraging on information technology structures, infrastructures. And when we talk about modern technology, there's no any business in this world, okay, that will strive or succeed if you don't have a strong infrastructure, information system base.
Right.
That is simple. I am taking my time over here. I am not doing politics. I am trying to be a professional over here and speak to this field.
Okay.
I want to also set a record straight and let my brother Nanaya knows that this story that he was talking about Vodafone, I worked for Vodafone and my name is there. I was the network operation manager until I resigned in 2010 and came to pursue my master's degree in telecommunication over here. So I want to set that record straight. So the things he was talking about Vodafone and all those stuff, he just threw that into our eyes. Let me set the record straight. When we're in Ghana Telecom by them, when Kufo sold Ghana Telecom to Vodafone, when Vodafone bought Ghana Telecom, Vodafone never expanded any infrastructure base when it comes to the fiber optic side.
Right.
As at the time Kufuor left power, Vodafone was sold, and the infrastructure, the fiber optic infrastructure base, was an entity on its own. It was not part of the contract that was sold to Vodafone. So, Nanaya, get your facts right. And this, I'm an insider. Number two, let me also set record that Nanaya is saying that they came to build, have added, or when whatever they met was not fit for purpose.
Fit for purpose, yeah.
Nanaya, let me address this issue. If you care to know.
I never said it was not fit for purpose.
The vice president said that. The vice president said that.
The vice president said that.
Okay.
Not Nanaya. Okay, the vice president said that. Let me set this record straight. It is on record. When the NDC took power in 2008 and started operation 2009, January 7th, His Excellency, the then former president, John Ivas Atamils, may he so rest in peace, and his vice, John Dramani Mahama, made a lot of investment in the fiber optic field. In so doing,
why is it important? Why is fiber optic important in this?
Because it's the speed and the fastest way of, data. If you want to send data, internet.
I recall that sometimes when you have to send, back in the days, when you have to send information from Accra to somebody in Kumasi, it has to go through servers in London.
Exactly. Those are the things that, so to take away those bottlenecks, we laid down a 1,000 kilometer fiber optics cable right from Accra to the north.
And that's what government should be doing, by the way.
And that's what government should be doing, and we did it. And also, let me state on record that within the Accra enclaves and Tema, 320 kilometers of fiber optic were laid. All these were prepared down for the takeoff of technology in Ghana. You remember, as far back as 2010, 2011, even though some of us were known to internet, some of us were used to, browsing on internet and all those stuff. I want also to state on record that I was the network operation manager of Vodafone. There was one instance whereby the fiber optic cable from South Africa to Ghana got cut.
Right.
Ghana and the whole Ghana came to a standstill for about 2 solid days.
Was that because of a ship? They said a ship actually.
A ship, exactly. You remember that story? Exactly. At that time, I was the network operation manager. I didn't sleep for 24 hours because we were on top of this issue. We were collaborating with our friends from South Africa to get them to go and get this fiber optic cable that was cut by a ship, get it fixed. Because when that happened, every internet service, national security was even at stake. We had a call from the national security apparatus everywhere. People were calling then Vodafone. By that, the Vodafone has just taken over. Vodafone. So, based upon that, the lesson learned after that was that we need to invest in our own infrastructure. That is what led to us building 1,000 kilometer fiber optic cable right from the ground. They buried it continuously from Accra to the north and then within Tema. Based upon that, the NDC government also decided to build a data center, which is sitting right in Accra Circle. Right? I don't know if Nanaya knows Ghanaian Times. It sits opposite Ghanaian Times. That is where the data center is sitting, and there is a backup in Kumasi. So for Nanaya, for all this infrastructure and system to be laid and built down, for you to come and say, or for your party and your vice president to be saying it was not fit for purpose, it is a worry. And now, let's look at who is bringing the message and the messenger. Let's analyze who is the messenger. Dr. Bawumia, as we call him. Okay? When they took power, or when he was in opposition, he made a lot of noise. He made noise in such a way that there's a lot of money in Ghana. It's just that the managers of the economy are not managing the economy well. That is why there is hunger in Ghana. I heard him making a lot of noise and his presidential candidate, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, that petrol is very expensive and that they should reduce. All these people, you see, when somebody, there's a say in tree, and Dr. Lawrence needs to help me here. Whatever, I don't know how they say it.
Yeah, kwatri kwaso obema untuma anu watie anything.
They were anything. Good. These are the things they told us when they were in the position. What are we seeing today? So for Dr. Bawumia to be running away from digitalization or economy and putting himself on digitalization is just a sad story to say this afternoon. I am trying to dispute and debunk the assertion that is made by Nanaya that, I mean, when we came, the thing they met were not enough, that they have to build on it. I am putting on record. The MPP government has not even added 1 kilometer of fiber optic to the existing one that was built by the former NDC administration. Let's face that record. We should not be deceiving people here. We should speak with fact. Yes, when the MPP took power, of course, some of the e-business, services and all those services that we were boasting of, most of them was started by the NDC whilst we were in power. The truth of the issue is that yes, when they came, they have improved upon it. If they come and tell us that they came to meet A, B, C, D, but they've taken it from this level to this stage, it will not be a hassle for us to be arguing here. But for the impression to be created by the super incompetent vice president, that once said by his presidential candidate that for him to come and stand on a stage to be lying, to be throwing dust into our eyes, it is unacceptable. Mr. Amuzu, I can stay on a record on fact that out of that 1.5 to 2 hours lecture that he gave, almost 80% of the things Dr. Bawumia spoke about are lies. They are all lies. And it is not me who's saying it. Fact check has fact checked him. Okay? Other CSOs, other people who are in institutions have all come out to punch holes in a lot of the misrepresentation he made to the good people of Ghana. I am saying here this afternoon that NDC built the infrastructure for the takeoff of the IT revolution in Ghana. Okay. That is why today, anywhere you go in Ghana, most of the places in Ghana, people are getting access to internet. That is why wherever you go, people are getting access to, phones, and they are having access to communication, and communication has been reduced. And also, Nanaya made a statement about that during their time that they introduced Momo. That is a big lie. Momo was introduced as far back as 2016. So please, when we are talking, let's speak with fact. The last statement I want to make, as you said, so that I can give the chance to the others, is that the Vice President made another lie by saying that they came to introduce electronic passport processing. That is also a big lie. The video is there, Alfred. I know you've seen the video.
We play that. So let's.
I know you've seen the video. So you see, if you have a Vice President who always come and throw dust into the eyes of the public, and you have people coming to defend, coming to justify the lies he told, I think it's unacceptable. All of us are in America. We know that truth is what has made America what it is today. And I will urge our colleagues over here, including myself, when we are doing this debate, let's speak the truth, and let's speak truth. Nanaya knows very well that all the things that Bawumia said were lies. But he's come to sit here this afternoon to try and justify it, to try and spin it, and just throw that into the eyes of our listeners. I will urge my brother Nanaya that let's have an academic debate this afternoon. Let's speak with facts. Let's speak with figures. And as the host, I know you've done a lot of research. We are going to talk about figures this afternoon, and we are going to see where the NDC handed over to these MPP people, and how they've dipped that into the ditch that this country is retrogressing. Whereby at the time that 2016 election time, where budget deficit was running 6.1, last year budget deficit was running around 15.6. This is what they've done to the mother Ghana. And when you raise this issue, Nanaya will tell you that there was COVID. But Alfred, I want to set the record straight this afternoon. In 2015-2016, the NTC government faced about 3 different shocks. Okay? The SOP, Kwame Nkrumah SOP, the oil field was not producing oil. There was equipment break. For 9 months, we were not producing oil. That affected us big time. Number 2,
And we are going to show that I have the graph.
Number 2, cocoa, timber, and oil production in the world market were very low. The prices came down, shot down drastically. That was around that time that we're buying gas around 1.9 something over here in America. Number 3, the doom saw that hit the era of 2012 to 2016 also contributed to us getting a GDP of 3.4. So for them to be boasting with oil, 3 oil field, getting 7.0 GDP, and for them to be making noise, it is a shame. Thank you.
All right, great. So I'm also going to play a video after this one, but I wanted to quickly share the last video. In the last video, Bawumia referenced that the World Economic Forum's report on information technology states that 10% increase in your country's ranking results in about 0.7% growth in GDP. That quote was first of all wrong because the World Economic Forum didn't say anything like that. First of all, it didn't make any sense. What is the 10% growth in the country's ranking? It doesn't make any sense. There's no, I mean, you can help me clarify that, but it doesn't make any sense that you say there's a 10% growth. But what the World Economic Forum actually says is that a 10% growth in your fixed broadband infrastructure will result in, if you are a developing country, a 1.35% addition to your GDP. If you have a 10% growth in your fixed infrastructure. I'm going to share Ghana's report for 2020, and we will see what the assessment of Ghana in terms of its readiness for digital transformation says that Ghana needs to do as a country, and what the government is doing, and see whether Bawumia is actually executing or the plan, it's fit for purpose, since that's a favorite word. Now, what you're seeing on your screen is the pillars, the pillars on which countries are evaluated in terms of whether they are ready for digital transformation. And we talk about access. I know Paul DeSoso just went into all the things that the NDC did to provide access, laying the fiber cables and everything. I think the MPP is concentrating on content, which is what is developed in terms of applications in the country locally. And the MPP is saying that, that is where we are. And future technologies, of course, they are trying to do. They are talking about robotics coming forward. So they are still in that space, in the technology space. They are worried about content, but a lot of what they are even saying is the government, because content, again, government has to have its own content and presence in applications to develop, and how the citizens are able to use those applications. Businesses have to do that. Then we transition to the people side, the individuals. Are the Ghanaian citizens able to use the systems we are putting in place? And that comes into education. How many people are graduating from secondary school? What are the enrollment rates? What is the science and maths education levels in the country? Very important, because it's important for the individuals to be able to adopt the technology we are building. Otherwise, we're spending money and not getting the results. Businesses, government is concentrating. You can see all the things they're saying is government will do this, there's e-passport, there is this and that. But what is business catching up? Are they improving on usage, etc., etc.? And whether that is going to have an economic impact. And so Dr. Bawumia is making the argument that he's not deviating from economics, that these are the very essence of the economy, because the digital revolution or the fourth industrial revolution is purely technology, and therefore it's not deviating at all. Now, let me play this tape, and then I'll bring in Lifetime Legacy. Lifetime Legacy. What I want you to discuss is, I want you to concentrate on okay. So let's look at the digital address system, because that's the next logical thing he talked about. The digital address system they've implemented. What was the foundation on which they have to build? What did the MPP did? And that would be in the rebuttal I get from Paul Danayao, so that we can address whether, in fact, the vice president was,
how is digitalization solving the problem of a property address system for Ghana? Ladies and gentlemen, the absence of an address system in Ghana has resulted in an address system based on landmarks. And this is not only in Ghana, it's in many African countries. You are seeing on the screen a cartoon that was sent to me by a friend from South Africa. I think that was yesterday. They were doing some voting for municipal elections, and he was a bit frustrated with the issues of finding places. So this cartoon, this is from South Africa, says they're directing this woman to a voting station. It says, pass the disused clinic, go around the best pipe, cross the potholes, left at the crack house, right at open toilets, you can't miss it. So this is the direction by address system by landmarks. Okay, in Ghana, we will say pass the cocoa cellar, the blue house, you know, the yellow house to the right and whatever. But it's the same landmark address system. To solve this problem of a lack of a working address system in Ghana, we have leveraged on GPS technology to implement a digital address system for Ghana, capturing every square inch of land in Ghana. In the process, the Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority, LUSPA, has identified 7.5 million properties in Ghana across the villages, towns, and cities. 7.5 million properties. And we have provided all these with street names, house numbers, and digital addresses. And right now we are in the process, LUSPA is in the process of affixing the address plates to all these properties. It's ongoing. It's a major achievement for Ghana. We engaged with Google last year. We engaged Google last year with a request to integrate our digital address system into Google Maps. I know all of you students, when you go to look for a location, you immediately go on WhatsApp and get to Google Maps and forward it and so on. We said to Google that we wanted to integrate our digital address system into Google Maps. They did their due diligence, and this year they agreed for us to do so. So we will do so by the end of the year. So when you enter, once it is done and you enter and put the address of any property or the digital address, Google Maps will take you there.
You are muted.
You are muted.
So you've heard Bawumia talking there about how the government is able to leverage the GPS technology to actually, provide digital addresses within square meters for properties, and be able to identify 7 million properties. He says that will be affixed with digital addresses going forward. That they're in negotiations with Google. These are all contents. Mr. Lifetime Legacy, I want you to tell me, what do you think is wrong with this? What this man is saying, it's also equally necessary for this transformation to occur. We know the NDC has done infrastructure. Access is there. I mean, the government, when they come and see the tools or the things left for them, they should be able to use them. That's what we vote for them for. So they say they are using them. Taking the technologies of the future, what we need, the content that we need. And if you look at even the 2020 report, you realize that one of the areas Ghana is actually performing well, it is in that content development and applications in Ghana.
Yeah, thank you, Alfred, and my senior comrade and our listeners. I'm glad to be on the platform once again. I would have been happy if we have more of our MPP foes on the show, so that the discussion can be more and more richer, even though it's richer now, can be more richer. I don't know why they keep running, most especially if I and my brother Yima keep running from my senior comrade. I think we need their opinions as far as this discussion is concerned. So they should try to squeeze their busy time to make it every Saturday afternoon. Alfred, my brother Daniel, I think the way he started have compelled me to tone down a little bit on the discussion. Even though he tried to bend the facts in a small way, I think he have done so well by appreciating some kind of development that was done by the NDC, which for me, if MPP folks will learn from him, it will be to the advantage of the country, because that is the only way people can be recognized for whatever they have done and continue to do more when the opportunity is given. So I think I'll commend my brother Daniel for the way he communicates, and urge my brother Ifa and the rest to join from him.
All right.
No, my senior brother Paul have made the conversation so interesting and lovely.
Right.
When you look at information technology or IT in Ghana, prior to in the 90s, it was like living in a bottomless pit. I remember my sister came here in US in 1986, and when anytime we want to talk to her, we have to go to Cycle PNT.
Busy internet.
Yeah, busy internet. No, it's around PNT Cycle.
Yeah.
At that time, where you have to go even book in advance to make the facility to use the facility. I remember that whilst you are even on the phone talking, the next person is tapping you to get on the phone quickly so that he can take over. So that's the situation we found ourselves with then, even in 90s. But I remember John Mahama was choosing after 1996 election. He became the deputy minister for communication, and that is where the information technology revolution started in Ghana. So it will be disingenuous on the part of our vice president to make assertions that are not true. And for me, it hasn't come to me as a surprise, because Dr. Bawumia have noticed that his bid to succeed Nanado, it's getting into the ditch. Alan, when he monitor the events as we speak now, Alan campaign is taking up. So the only way Bawumia can catch up is to assemble these innocent school children who don't have the history.
Bawumia is addressing is very important though, because these are what we call the vectors of development now.
Life
right?
legacy. Why do you single out this?
I'll come to the substantive issue.
Why do you single out this particular lecture and then link it to Bawumia's, political career?
I'll come to that.
He's been having lectures before this.
So the only way
we have to wrap it up, because, like I said, we have to be sit, right?
Yeah. So the only way he could resurrect his campaign is to go the way he did. As far as digitalization of Ghana economy is concerned, it's one of the things everybody can advocate for. Right. You and I in US here, we know how the system is working. Most of the activities we do here, it's online. Hardly sometimes do you come into face-to-face with business to transact business. Everything we do is online. So it is something we need as Ghanaians to progress. It is something we need as Ghanaians to add value to our life. It's something we need as Ghanaians. It will enhance, or create opportunity of employment. So it's something everybody, as far as it's concerned, will need. And nobody will say that we don't need it. So for me, it is a good thing. The country needs it. But the impression should never be created as if everything that is we are having now just started over the last 5 years. That is where I find it very, very disingenuous. Okay, because that is why I was trying to take time to explain how the communication or IT, as far as it's concerned, came into Ghana and who brought it, and how it has transformed over the years. So, like my brother Paul earlier on mentioned, before Bawumia and NPP came to power, or Nanado came to power, we already had Momo in place.
Right.
Before they came into power, the e-passport was instituted by Hanatete.
But I think you're not getting the story. Maybe you're not following what MPP is saying, though. They're not saying there's a lack of MOMO. They're saying interoperability. The fact that all those things are able to communicate together with bank accounts, and there's progress made. That's what you're saying. They've made progress.
Paul, before Bawumia came into
Lifetime legacy. Listen to what we are saying. Don't put words.
Before Bawumia came into office.
Put what we are saying.
Before Bawumia came into office, those services were available.
Right.
That's true.
You get it. You see, sometimes I will pardon my brother Daniel. Maybe at that time, between 2015 or between 2014 all the way to 2016, maybe my brother Daniel was not in Ghana. So when he speaks in that regard, I will understand him. But for me, I was in Ghana. I came to US in 2018. So I enjoy every bit of the process Bawumia is talking of before coming to US. So he should not create the impression that all these things that he's talking about just started under their regime. That is where I have the problem with.
That is you setting your own question and answering it. That's
I'm
not
not
what he
setting
said.
my own question and answering. Let me give you another example. By the latest
never
video
said
you
that.
played.
Every technology, for your information, every technology that we had is an incremental technology.
Let me give you another example from the video you played. When you listen to Bawumia, he said the person who developed the the GP address and the naming street is in Dansoma. If you heard him very well, the person who did that job, I knew where the person lived. Okay, that same person was contracted by John Mahama to do the street naming. That street naming started in 2015. You get it? I live in Dansoma. So the street in which I lived is called Amate Street. So the person who did that job, that Bawumia is touting as if it started under their regime. I know where the person lived. I know what the person started doing under Mahama. So all that I want to say is that Bawumia should stop creating the impression as if all the things he's mentioning just started under him.
So it's clear that Ghana, right, in terms of our readiness, in terms of the infrastructure investments to provide access to fiber optic cables since 2014, based on the investment we've made in those sectors, spec GDP, right, we are always ahead of the curve. And we are ahead of the curve as we speak today.
So the point I want to emphasize is that
so
it will be disingenuous on the part of the vice president
to
create the impression that all those things he mentioned started yesterday. You get it? Right. Those things were started by John Mahama. Like I said, the person who was doing the street naming, I knew where the person lived in Dansoma exhibition. He started those projects in 2015, and I know the person one-on-one.
No, lifetime legacy. Okay. You are confusing two things here. The street naming that you said, that is the physical one, right? The physical street naming. I know Mahama ordered somewhere, was it in 2018, that all streets should be named by district assembly. He gave that order. That was the order from the government. And Accra, like you are saying, they started doing extensive street naming, putting out the signpost and naming it after. That is what we are talking about. Bawumia is talking about the one that Digitalize gave you, the digital address system.
Yes.
So I'm not sure
I am looking to that. I'm saying that same person, that same person, it is a combined project that was given to him by Mahama.
Right.
The person was doing phase 1 of the project before MPP came into power. You get it? So he was just continuing the project that he was given. You get it? My point is not about we having the system. My point that I want to establish is that the system had started and it was in progress before they came into power.
Okay, great. So now I want to bring in Dr. Lawrence. Dr.
Lawrence, let me wrap up. Let me wrap up with something. He also lied by saying that NDC truncates the Ghana card project. It is not true.
That's a different thing. We'll have a video for that. So that's why.
Okay.
I would like this to be okay. So let me go to the money transfer. I want to play the mobile money one before Dr. Lawrence will talk. Dr. Lawrence, because I know you are in the field. So address this one for me.
How is digitalization addressing financial inclusion and the dominance of cash payments? One of the biggest problems that was impeding financial sector development in Ghana is the issue of financial exclusion. This means that most of the population is excluded from fully participating in the financial system because they are unable to open and operate bank and financial services accounts. And this reinforces the dominance of cash payments. When we assumed office in 2017, we decided to use digitalization to solve this problem. The data showed that about 70% of people in Ghana had no bank accounts, but about 80% of the population, adult population, had mobile phones, and they had 30 million mobile money accounts. It was also not possible at that time to send money to customers of different mobile money service providers. So we asked the following questions. Why can't we make it possible to send mobile money across different mobile money service providers? And also, why can't mobile money, the mobile money account function just like a bank account by making it interoperable with bank accounts? The answer to these questions was the implementation of the groundbreaking mobile money interoperability system by the Bank of Ghana and the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlements Services. Mobile money interoperability has made it possible to transfer money seamlessly between different service providers and also between a bank account and a mobile wallet. And because the mobile money account performs just like a bank account, as a result of mobile money interoperability, we have practically solved the problem of financial exclusion in Ghana. I should note that Ghana is the first country in Africa and one of the few in the world to achieve this type of interoperability between bank accounts and mobile wallets.
President there talking about what they did with mobile money or interoperability, or the fact that essentially they've solved that financial inclusion. But another thing that experts observe is that the essence of these developments themselves creates another sort of separation or two societies, where there is a society that cannot use this technology, and there is one that can use the Accras and Kumasis can use these things, but there is the grandmother in the village who cannot use this type of technology. So are you convinced that the MPP has actually solved the whole financial exclusion problem by the interoperability, and if that by itself has now also created that division that I was alluding to, or that extra exclusion from people who can actually use the technology and people who cannot use the technology, because you're not hearing a lot of the educational piece. And then we'll talk a little bit about education too, because I know, the practice was that we send computers to school, but now the emphasis is on teachers. And he says that, they have also provided some laptops to teachers, etc., to deal with that. But tell me, what is your assessment of that?
Yeah, Alfred, before I would even answer that question or go to the subject matter, right. My calendar is telling me that tonight when I'm going to sleep, I should set my clock back 1 hour.
Correct.
So please do so before Dr.
Mischief.
Bawumia takes credit for that.
Mischief.
Because it is, you know, we in America and Canada, we already have it on our calendars that today we should change our clock 1 hour back. So if you are in America and in Canada, you should know this. And I'm using this, your bigger platform, to make that official announcement. So you change your time 1 hour backwards before Dr. Bawumia takes credit for that. Because Dr. Bawumia always does stuff like that. He takes credit when the thing is already in operation, you know. Now, and then number 2, please, if it is possible, can you call Mr. Ifa to tell him that we are 1 hour already in the program, so he should come on. We are waiting for him.
Okay, I'll do that.
If he doesn't come on, we will attack him. I mean, I'm using the word attack because I know what it means. We would attack him on the platform. So, I mean, he better come on. Even though we still have 1 hour to go, he can still come and join us. And then, you see, Alfred, I stated it. I wrote a very small piece even before Dr. Bawumia gave his presentation. And what I said was that Ghanaians should not bother about what Dr. Bawumia was coming to say, because the purpose of Dr. Bawumia coming to give that lecture was because the name Sewa Bruni was trending on social media and it was hurting the NPP. And for that matter, they should ask Dr. Bawumia to come and, like, you know, blow the trending down a little bit. And you and I know that if Dr. Bawumia...
Dr. Wallace, do you know how many Sewa Brunis are in the lives of people, even those on the panel?
But this Sewa Bruni story is actually a very serious one.
Yeah.
Those on the panel, do you want me to mention their Sewa Brunis for you? Including you, Dr. Lawrence.
Daniel, when you were talking, I was here, and you know I was silent.
So we should find some
please
time
allow me also to talk.
Right.
So we all know that because of the name Sewa Bruni that has even hit Parliament now, they have to quickly and hurriedly organize a lecture for Dr. Bawumia to come and say something like he said.
Right.
And one thing that I also wrote about is that because this lecture was hurriedly prepared for Dr. Bawumia, the strategy is that he is going to leave some holes, he's going to lie, and he's going to play jokes with the minds of the Ghanaian people. And if I say that, and if he does that, it means there are some holes that would lure the NDC and the Ghanaian people to start debating what Dr. Bawumia said.
Mm-hmm.
Because you and I would testify to the fact that it was after the Bawumia lecture that the NDC came to tell the whole world that even the fiber optics that the NDC and President Mahama laid down from the south to the north were all there. I mean, NDC didn't make any noise about it. John Mahama didn't make any noise about it because we took it that is the government's responsibility. So if it is government's responsibility and we are doing that, and we know that the generation that we are going into, we will need that. So we decided to do it without making any noise. We gave the contract to people. Nobody even knew that we had given contract to people. But Dr. Bawumia would intentionally come and say things just to lure the NDC into the conversation. I'm sure you and I will not be talking about digitization today if Dr. Bawumia had not made that speech, we will be talking about Sewa Bruni. And as a matter of fact, I'll let my speech be quick so we can have at least 30 minutes of our time to talk about Sewa Bruni, because that is my subject area, that is my interest, and that is where I have specialized. Do you understand? I've specialized on talking about Sewa Bruni. I've written several articles about it. It has been published all over the world. So if you can give me, or you can give us the last 30 minutes of our time to talk about Sewa Bruni, then I'll be so happy. Because Dr. Bawumia came, so we will not talk about Sewa Bruni. But the good thing is that this digitalization is going to debate, is going to end today. And then tomorrow, Sunday, I mean, everybody will go to church, come back home and prepare for Monday. So Monday, we'll start talking about Sewa Bruni. Some of us will not let Sewa Bruni die.
You don't think anything else will come up?
Say it again.
You don't think anything else will come up? Bawumia might give another speech, you know?
No. He can't give another speech again because right now he's done. Bawumia is done for now. I mean, he thinks, he has been able to control the airspace with this lecture that he gave. But you see, one thing I like about Daniel is that, sometimes he speaks his mind. He doesn't talk.
He doesn't go to party line.
Yeah, he doesn't flow. Because when
that's very good. So we all appreciate that. Yeah.
I listened to him on a radio station this morning, and he did the same thing. You see, when Disoso or Paul, when Paul said that, he said whatever NDC did was not fit for purpose. You see, he came quickly and said, I didn't say that. It was Bawumia who said it. And Daniel knows what Bawumia said about that was a lie. What is not fit for purpose? What is not fit? So right there, Daniel has just recused himself from that lie that Dr. Bawumia said. And Dr. Bawumia intentionally did that so this debate will be created. He would say it like NDC didn't do anything, and then NDC would want to come and say that they did it. You see, and you can testify, or you can agree with me that after the Bawumia speech, more people are even knowing what the NDC did than what the MPP has done. And talking about the financial institution and the connection and all that kind of stuff, like you played, some of these things have been in existence long time ago. But because we have a government that is not doing anything, they will take credit for that. That is why I warned you that when you are going to sleep tonight, change your clock back 1 hour before Dr. Bawumia takes credit for that. Because Dr. Bawumia wouldn't care to say he allowed or he let Americans and Canadians change their clock backwards 1 hour. He wouldn't mind to do that. And whenever you see Dr. Bawumia speaking and laughing, whatever he is talking at that particular moment is a lie. Or he had deliberately left a hole in there for the NDC and the Ghanaians to talk about that hole, and for that matter, create that debate. So whatever thing that the government is doing, nobody will be paying attention to that, but they will talk about the holes that Dr. Bawumia left in his lecture or in his speech for people to be debating about it. So I wouldn't say much. Whatever Dr. Bawumia talked about, the connection between financial institutions, and Alfred, you stated it right, that these things, when Dr. Bawumia is making such speeches, he only thinks about Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, and maybe Sunyane. He even doesn't think about Tamale, Bolga, and Wa areas. He doesn't. I'm serious.
Right.
He doesn't. All this thing he's talking is like the whole Ghana is Accra, Kumasi.
Mm-hmm.
The whole Ghana is Accra. So when you are in Accra, you'd appreciate what he's saying.
Right.
Or when you are Accra or Kumasi, you would understand what he's saying. And you might take it to be the gospel truth.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, that is not a fact.
Right.
In reality, that is not a fact. And this is what I'm saying. The Bawumia, his strategy of lecturing is to kill any bad news about the government. And to do that, he will come and give a speech, pretend that the speech is only for Accra and Kumasi people, pretend like NDC didn't do anything, put some holes in there deliberately. I mean, it's a deliberate ploy to do that. He does that on purpose. And then after his speech is gone, then they will send his aide, Gideon Boakun, or whatever the name is, to come and straighten the edge for people to kind of understand it a little bit. And in the course of Gideon Boakun straightening the edge, then he pulls the Ghanaian people and the NDC into it. Because NDC cannot sit aloof. NDC cannot sit and listen to Dr. Bawumia giving all this speech when the fiber optics was done by the NDC. We have to come and say something. We have to come and prove to the Ghanaian people that we laid the foundation. All the waterlogs we went through and building the blocks and putting the cement and the concrete and everything together to lay the foundation. NDC would want to tell the Ghanaian people. Initially, we didn't care. We thought this was something that every government should do. So if we have done it, so what? But Dr. Bawumia would definitely want to come and take credit for something he didn't do. So in that essence, he will be pulling the NDC and the Ghanaian people into a debate that will kill any bad news for the government.
Okay, great. I want to bring in Nana Yao to respond because I know you have a lot to respond to there. But before you do so, I want us to listen again to Bawumia on what he referred to as their unwritten rules when it comes to using digitalization.
Yeah, can I deal with the issues first before we come to that? Because that will be a separate thing as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have a problem if somebody's speaking to facts and then has a different opinion about it. That is fair. That is fine. In the public space, I think that for me, that is correct for me. But if we deviate from the facts, then that is where it gets worrying. It appears then we are not doing productive discussion. I'm happy Paul Dishosho, revealed to us that he used to work with Vodafone. And I think that information that he provided, I remember at the time when Kufo was selling Vodafone for $900 million dollars, the fiber optic power was not part of it. And we told the NDC so that it was for strategic reason that we were selling it without adding the fiber optic pathway because of national security reasons. So even at that time, fiber optic was in our country, right? Like he was saying, when they had done the national security consideration, we realized that we can't rely on somebody for these things because it has national security implications for our own country. So that piece that he said, yes, I can relate to that. And I can't remember that at the time that we gave the asset to Vodafone when we restructured it, that part was not part of it. So fiber optic development, like I said, the NDC did put up some things that I'm aware of. When Michael Quay came, they did add some stuff because it was not an NDC MPP thing. It was a national security thing. Regardless of which government was in government, that was something you cannot run away from. If you wanted to be serious as a country, you needed to make sure that you take hold of that sector and invested in it. And if you remember, MTN at some point was digging the whole of Ghana, just trying to put these cables on the ground. And then later, I think if my memory serves me right, the idea was that if we have a national fiber optic system, it can serve all these other telecommunications. They can rely on that, and then our national security too will be protected because you cannot give this fiber optic infrastructure for strategic reasons.
Then you have to find a way of going to
exactly. So that was a smart move, and if they did that, that should be the natural consequence of how we should be thinking as a country of doing that. So I have no problem with that. But what I want to say is that when the MPP speaks, I think the NDC, you guys have to listen to what we say. Maybe I would say we are better at communicating our achievement than you people are. From what you've told me here, it just tells me that like I just told you, why is Apple keep doing marketing? Do you think that there's no reason why Apple will keep marketing the product, even though it is Apple? There's a reason why you have to communicate what you do. When we say stuff, listen to what we are saying. We are not saying when we came, there was no Momo. That is not what we have said. You are saying that. That is something you are saying differently. We are saying that when we came, we were trying to solve a specific problem of financial inclusion and Momo interoperability. That is not to say we started Momo from the scratch. There was some existing system there. And we had to create interoperability on top of that system to achieve our goal of financial inclusion. So when we speak, please don't take us out of context. Leave us on the fact of what we have said and challenge us on what we have said. Otherwise, we'll be veering off the conversation and then you'll be saying, oh, in 2014 there was Momo. Who have said there wasn't Momo? The statement that you just played out, that Bawumia said, he never said there was no Momo. He said that interoperability, meaning that we have to let these different systems talk together so that we can send money across different networks.
Right.
But because he didn't say specifically the way you want to hear that, oh, when NDC left us Momo, and because he didn't say it that way, you think Bawumia, what he said is not right. You don't dictate to a politician how you must communicate his achievements. Like I can't dictate to NDC how you must communicate your achievement. That is your problem to fix. That is your party's communication strategy to fix. It's not for me, the MPP, to come and lecture you guys on that. So I'm sorry. This is why I say if the NDC does well, I'm better for it. Tell the Ghanaian people, communicate in the way that the Ghanaian people can understand you. Let's have competitive politics. That is what makes the MPP better. If we know that the NDC is challenging us,
so Daniel, you think Dr. Bawumia speaking and leaving out stuff like that is what Ghanaians understand?
Well, at the end of the day, the outcome will prove that. He's been speaking this way and he's been winning election against you, and you think that it's not working, he will be doing that?
Right.
Now nobody.
That is what you think.
Nobody regards him anymore.
Okay,
No,
you sit here and think
okay,
like that.
So let's not make it about the person of Dr. Bawumia, but rather
Nanayao,
Yes,
let me state on record that interoperability was working, existing as far back as 2014.
Paul, why wouldn't you hold that? And I want you to come next.
Okay.
And kind of bottle it off for me. Yeah.
Paul, as far as what do you call it? I'm with you. As far as I know, in Ghana, at the time that I left Ghana, there was no way you could send money from one network to the other. Paul, this is fact. I mean, I have known this for a long time.
When did you leave Ghana?
Pardon?
When did you leave Ghana?
Oh, I left Ghana in 2009. I've been going back since, and I understand and think about it. You don't have to be in Ghana to know what.
There was more. Pause it.
I'll explain to you again. Remember, we've come this far. Before it used to be money. What do you call it? MoneyGram. Do you remember how MoneyGram used to work? MoneyGram sat down. MoneyGram sat down, and somebody had to incrementally innovate a technology that allows you to send money directly to Momo in Ghana. And now they became aware that, hey, the competition is disrupting our business model. We need to set up. And today, MoneyGram is also doing tap. We have all this wave and all these different web remit systems that have come. So this is how technology works. You have
by
to
the way,
be
we are
innovative.
sponsored by Well Remit, since you mentioned them. And
okay, Well Remit, wherever they are, give kudos to them. Today, they made it easy for you to sit here.
MoneyGram, there was Western Union.
Western Union, right? So you see how technology is an incremental thing. You have to take it and then you innovate upon it, you build upon it, and then you ride with it.
You are punching holes into your own argument right now.
Yeah, but
I am telling you that interoperability was working as far back as 2014.
I don't know.
That is why when you send money from, hold on, let me explain to you. When you send money to Western Union, when you go in, you are sitting in Maryland, you go to Western Union, you send money to Ghana. You decide whether the money should be taken from GCB, ADB, EcoBank, or there's another one of the bank I've forgotten. There are 4 banks that you have the choice where you can go for your money. Do you know that for a fact? I want us to establish
that is interoperability on another level. Interoperability at the level of Momo networks, MTN, Vodafone. So it's not interoperability. Like what you are saying is an aspect of interoperability.
So I don't think
let's be clear now. We are discussing.
So the MPP is narrowly saying that.
Alfred,
that is what he said. You played the video.
It is now obviously clear that among all of us seated here, I am the last person to join you guys in the US. Okay, from the way the discussion is going now, I can say that I was the last person on this, as far as this platform is concerned now, to join you guys in the US, and I can say it on authority that all those services were in existence before Bawumia came, or MPP government, Nana Bawumia came to power.
Okay.
This
So,
is how
Alfred,
the system was then.
Life
Right.
Legacy, let's give it to him. He's saying that the interoperability they are talking about is the money transfer between MTN and then
telecommunication service providers.
that's what but if you are saying that the basic
I was just saying that
interoperability exists.
It was in existence. But what happened is that, you see, what I want them to say, they are not rather saying it. It was in existence. But what they do is that.
But essentially, he's also saying that the NDC should be able to communicate the achievements a lot better.
They should rather go back and say
the NDC is taking the smallest thing they did, which is make the bank.
Alfred, what I can attest that they did, I can attest that they did different was that then when you transfer money from MTN to Vodafone or Tigo Cash or any of those networks, and you are going to do the withdrawal, they charge you some percentage. Okay, that is if they says that they've been able to take that aspect of, I will agree to them. But if they continue to say that system does not exist at all, that becomes disingenuous.
No, and this is the problem I keep telling you. I told you technology is incremental.
Yeah,
all the technology that you see, they've been incremental technology. Something existed before those things came on top of them. If you don't understand the technological space in this sense, then you fight over everything. Tomorrow,
can you ask my brother Nanaya? Can you ask my brother Nanaya?
I have a last question.
Let me just ask a question
for Daniel.
Live Legacy, let me ask this. Let's ask this question.
Exactly is Bawumia trying to let us know? What exactly is Bawumia trying to communicate?
Is Nanaya telling us that when you are putting up a building, you put up the roof before you do the foundation? That's what Nanaya is trying to tell us.
Exactly.
No, that you have to put on the roof before you put out the foundation.
I think he's saying that it's incremental, which means that
nobody is saying technology is not incremental. Look, technology is a revolution era. It keeps on changing. Every year it keeps on changing. That is why all of us, we all work in a corporate institution. That is why our various organizations spend millions of dollars, okay, to secure our network, to improve upon the network, to make sure that they introduce new features. Example, I've been working from home for the past 2 years. My company used to have what's the name? Skype. That's what we use for team meeting and all those stuff. But due to the COVID and whatever it is, we've migrated to Microsoft Teams, which is more secure than what we used to do first. Does that mean that we didn't have that capability of hosting conference calls via Skype with other people?
Because we moved to Teams?
Exactly. That is the argument my brother Daniel is making this afternoon.
Yeah, but what I'm telling you is that
you build a roof before you build the foundation.
No.
I think that is not it.
I am saying the roof and the analogy with the roof and thing, because I think it's recognizing the fact that
it's recognizing the fact. Because like what you said, that Skype thing exists on a certain platform. Somebody comes and realizes that, let me improve it and make it better. The teams that you talk about, do you know the capabilities that teams have? You can record even live meetings, right?
Yes.
Record it.
Yes.
That
is why the company spend millions of dollars to move to Teams. I agree with you. So I am telling you, as Life Legacy told you, okay, Momo exists and you could transfer money from MTN to Vodafone, but there was a tax or there was a component where you are supposed to pay off. Now, what you guys have come to do, as we keep on improving upon technology, things get better. Okay, bugs are being removed all the way. Difficulties and obstacles are being removed from the way. So you guys came in and removed that obstacle whereby if I transfer money from MTN to Vodafone, I'll be charged maybe 2% or 3%. You guys took it off. Yes, nobody is not taking that from you. But don't create the impression as if it is something that you've done that has not happened before. It's super.
You are now prescribing to us how we must communicate our achievement. That is not for you to do. Leave that to us.
What do you call it? MTN used to have a system where
you want to communicate the achievement of
MTN has a system where you borrow money. When you have a account, you can borrow money.
About unwritten rules. I'm very interested in that, and we can talk about that.
Assumed office in 2017. We asked the following questions: how prepared is Ghana to compete in the emerging global digital revolution? Have we got in place the key pillars that would enable our economy to participate in the emerging digital revolution? Is the system we have fit for purpose? Ladies and gentlemen, the first thing to note in talking about the digital revolution is that it is a data revolution. The Economist magazine in 2017 put it this way, and I quote, "The world's most valuable resource is no longer oil, but data," end quote. Data is as important in this fourth industrial revolution as oil discoveries were for countries decades ago. Data is the basic requirement for participation in the emerging digital revolution. But it was clear when we assumed office that the system underpinning the operation of Ghana's economy was not designed for a data-driven economy. The system had major shortcomings and presented challenges for digitalization of the economy. The key enablers for digitalization were not in place. And these challenges included the citizens and residents could not be uniquely identified. It is possible to be born in Ghana, to live a full life, to die and be buried, and there would be no trace of you on any documentation that you ever lived and died in this country. There is also, as we looked at it, the inefficiency and corruption in the delivery of public services. In the day-to-day interactions of Ghanaians, whether in applying for driver's license, passports, and any other form of government permit or license at the local or national level, corruption has been so ingrained that bribe taking and giving are often tolerated to the point of being considered as normal behavior. We also had a lack of a functional national property address system. And you know that no modern economy can function without an address system. There was the existence of the large informal sector and the dominance of cash in payments. We also had financial exclusion and so many people not being able to have access to financial accounts and services. Our government databases are largely manual and not integrated. And there was the difficulty in this large informal economy of ours of collecting taxes for development. The vast majority of the population do not file to pay taxes. And when they do not file to pay taxes, there's no way of finding out because you don't have the data. We also had a lot of inefficiency in the delivery of health and education services. All the challenges I have just described so far are symptomatic of a disconnect between the government machinery on the one hand and the lives of ordinary people on the other. The system frustrates rather than helps ordinary people. That is how the system worked. The question to ask, ladies and gentlemen, is why is it that after over 60 years of independence in Ghana, after all the years of IMF and World Bank programs, after all the foreign aid, all the development assistance, the system remained basically the same, or in some cases got worse? In 2010, that's 11 years ago, and some 7 years before we came into government, I addressed this question in the conclusions of a book that I published on monetary policy and financial sector reform in Africa. I noted in this book that international development is a competitive game. But unlike the game of football, where the rules are clearly defined for all participants, not all the rules of international development are written down, putting in place a unique identification number for the population, a unique address system, and financial inclusion are just some of the key unwritten rules for efficient economic development.
All right. So that last piece there where he was talking about the rules are unwritten, that's something he addressed in his book about monetary policy. That's one of the unwritten rules is, digitizing an economy, digitizing a country. But it appears that, this rule has been written somewhat. I'm sharing with you quickly here the same document that he quoted. I'm here referring to the World Economic, the World Economic Forum document. And what I'm showing you here is in their evaluation of Ghana in 2020, they told us what our strongest weakness indicators are. They're saying that the indicators where Ghana performs particularly well include e-commerce legislation, the SDG Goal 7, which is the affordable and clean energy, and active mobile broadband subscription. By contrast, the economy's weakest indicators include medium and high-tech industry. We don't have that. Computer software spending. We are not spending enough in computer software, and fixed broadband subscriptions. So, what Bawumia is saying is not entirely true, right? It is common knowledge at this point. It is known. It is published. He read it. He's quoting it. The rules are there. But it seems these rules are not even, these are the things, he's not even the government doesn't seem to be addressing where we have the weaknesses. They are addressing contents, but they are not addressing the specific things mentioned in that, in terms of broadband subscription, because people need to have access, etc., etc. They're not addressing those things. What do you say to that? The only areas that we are actually strong in really are the legislation, affordable of electricity, etc., etc. But the core issue of areas where we are weak, we are not addressing them. Yeah.
Let me have my take on that. I think that we must understand our context, right? Mm-hmm. If you want to benchmark us with the Americas, all the other countries that are ahead of us, then that's not even a debate I want to have, because obviously that will not be for me. It will be an aspiration that it's good, but I mean,
this is Sub-Saharan Africa benchmark, where we have countries like Mauritius leading, Kenya.
Right. Of course, in Africa, we have like the countries that you mentioned. We have taken inspiration from them, and we've bypassed them on some of the things that they led even before we came into it. So it's good to always learn from even your peers and see that, hey, this is what they're doing. Why don't we go get ahead of them? That for me is a challenge that all government has to be aware of at all times and try to improve upon their system. You talked about this all digitization thing that we are talking about. Do you know that, like I always keep saying, sometimes as a country, we have to be fair to ourselves. We are talking digitization here. You, Amuzu, in the village that you come from, if there's no electricity, obviously, what we forget is that if there's no electricity, by using my computer the way it is now, it will be limited, right? And you and I know, we know who penetrated electricity in our country in the era of Rawlings, when he had power. The most extensive form of external electricity, even to the northern part of our country. But did Rawlings just do that so that any government that comes will just sit down and fold their arms and not take advantage of that which has already been built? No. If you come and that advantage has already been created for you, ride with that and add something more.
You just like making the NDC people happy, huh? Every time
yes, I told them they don't know how to communicate the achievement. That is their problem.
Every time you mention Rawlings and Mahamudu,
I don't want to. That is their problem. And up to that point, Anytime that every government had been increasing electricity penetration. Today, as I speak, electricity penetration is about 86 point something %. Largely, some of
you guys add only 2%.
They left you around 80%.
That is fine.
So I think
That-
you've
You
done.
guys, they add only 2%. They've add only 2%.
That's fine. You can talk about whatever we've added.
Okay.
You
So
have
no, add to it. Add to that. You add only 2%.
whatever. That is not even my point. My point is that each government, right? The NDC, when they've come, they've increased rural electrification. The MPP, when they've come, they've increased it. But of course, NDC, we know they have been in power for a long time. So by natural progression of things, you have done more in that sector. But should we just sit down and say, because you have done that, we shouldn't take advantage of this existing system if we can improve other things like telephone? You know, now they have what they call rural telephony, where Hawaii, what is the name? Is it Hawaii? Hawaii is improving network connectivity in rural parts of the country. It is a work in progress. Before Esla Wusu or Manibu Amenko were extending some of these services in some of the rural areas. When Esla came, he's taken on board and also extended it, because eventually we need that as a country. So if you're a government, some things are natural progression of development. If you come and you think that because the previous government did it, you will not continue with it, it will come back and hit you.
But
the better you do it, the good for you.
The issue here is that I think you've done little for you to actually.
It is not for you. It is not for you to tell us how we must communicate our achievement to the Ghanaian people. Nobody should be prescribing that to us. Leave that to us. That is why we are in politics.
The struggle here is the other political party is saying that, come on,
I don't want to care about them.
You shouldn't even be the one talking.
I don't want to worry about them. Let them go and worry about their problems. I'm giving them. I'm even surprised today. I'm giving them solutions. Let them go and worry about that as their problem. You have a former president that is a communications expert, and you are here complaining to me about how you guys communicate your achievement. That tells me that
it is not that we are complaining or nobody is saying it. What we are talking about is the lies that were told by your vice president.
Don't worry.
And all the things, the tape that Alfred just played, everything that man said in that tape were lies.
Well, that is
not
what you think.
One that is true.
Keep to that. Keep communicating that.
Keep communicating.
We're going to kind of give us all the things that are live, but let me finish.
Let me recognize
that we have Efa Amaya joining.
Let me wrap up in 1 minute about my point about the unwritten rules.
Okay, go ahead.
The unwritten rules that Bawumia spoke about, I mean, it's obvious. Fortunately for you and I, we live in this country, we live in the developed world. And so some of these things, when somebody says that, we can relate better. But like I said, if I hadn't had the privilege of living in this country, there are some things probably I would never have known how it worked or how the system is put together to produce the kind of thing that they're able to do. So sometimes I can pardon my people in Ghana if they still don't get these things and the connections and where these things is leading to. That is fine. I can pardon them. But if I have the privilege of knowledge and given what I know, and given what Bawumia said, and benchmarking that with what I've seen here.
Keeping the lies Bawumia said. Giving the lies.
Don't worry.
And I'm not surprised.
Mr. Paul,
my brother
you can say those things.
I'm not surprised my brother Ifa has gone to hire a lawyer, Dr. Erasmus Atajemfi, to come and help him. We are not surprised at all. We're expecting that.
Mr. Paul, don't divert my attention. So those unwritten rules, yes. The other day, remember, before even this digitization, last week, when we had last week's show, remember we were talking about this same system, and I was drawing your mind to the fact that you were telling me consumer spending here in America, GDP is driven by 70% of it is consumer-led. And I was telling you that, yes, that is correct, but you must understand the root source of what is pushing that consumption.
Right, then you were referring to the fact that we should do credit system.
A credit system. And that credit system too has to be built on something. Identity. Knowing the identity of people and verify the identity.
Yeah, so it ties to exactly what Bawumia is saying about data. But I'm saying that, that data has to actually work in a container. And it is clear that the NDC is taking credit for building the container.
I don't have a problem.
They build a databases that is referring to.
They build a data center. They build a
data center. The database.
That is fine. We need that. But somebody has to, capitalize on that data center and do greater
and then use it for other things. Yeah.
Right. So that unwritten rule is very key. Our identity, we have to build that system. Once we have that system, it doesn't matter whether it's Mahamudu who's in government or MPP who's in government. Once the banks themselves realize that there's an incentive, they will begin to do things innovatively and improve the system. And tomorrow I can just walk into Ghana, walk into any bank and deal with them. I don't care whether it's MPP or NDC who is in government. The system will work by itself because there's something that supports it.
I was reading the SDG funding that we requested with the United Nations, and it says that in Ghana currently there are not enough innovative bankable projects. Like we are
yes,
not.
they will not be.
Yeah,
it's
we don't
because
have
the system that supports that is it's not built fully.
Banks would even want to sponsor.
Yes, it's true. Because the banks will be, once we finish this system, right, the banks themselves will become innovative. And already Bawumia gave us a link that, you know what the banks are doing? Because they realize that MTN it's not a banking, a financial institution, it's a telecommunication company. But they are now in the fintech space, competing with them on the Momo end. So the banks do want to build a common platform for themselves where they can also compete with MTN and get this Momo transaction so that their own people can also use. So Bawumia said they are going to launch it next month. You see how just putting up a system is forcing them to be innovative. And
so they can use like the way we do here, Zelle and things like that.
Right. So you see, that is why I say that some fundamentals have to be right.
Hold on for me, Legacy.
I want to ask my brother Daniel a question.
Some fundamentals have to be right for these banks themselves to take that initiative on their own. Otherwise, nothing happens by chance. Some things have to be set in place. And I'm happy that Bawumia is highlighting them. The NDC can say he's lying, but of course, the NDC is listening. Tomorrow, if they win power, obviously, they will be minded about these things. And I don't think they will leave it to destroy. They also build upon it. And for me, that competitive politics is what for me I feel glad about. That today we are discussing about the very fundamental things that we have needed for a long time. That obviously today somebody is highlighting them. And there's something when you go to corporate institution, we talk about tone at the, what do you call it? Tone at the highest level. You see, the tone is coming from the presidency, and that gives attention, that drives everybody to it, and that is good for Ghana. We need such tone from the bigger people like John Mahama, from big people that have big platforms, that is, people follow them, so that when they say something, that positive tone can ripple down
this is not about Sawa Bruni at all.
Well, no, Dr. Lawrence can talk about Sawa Bruni. Me, that's not productive to me. So, an old man who is 78, you want to waste your time talking about Sawa Bruni, somebody who doesn't have any motivation for coming to the people to seek power. You want to waste your time about that? That is the NDC. Unproductive.
There's a national security implication on that.
Oh, of course.
Next week we will talk about that. Whether Daniel likes it or not, next week we'll talk about that.
So we have a few people on the show now, and I want everybody to have the opportunity to speak. I know we've been missing a file, and because it's late, I'm going to have Dr. Ato come before him.
If I went and hire a lawyer, he went and hired
we'll take you. We'll be waiting for your voice for a long time.
He went and hired a lawyer. Alfred.
So, but let's Dr. Ato come in quickly.
Alfred, set a record straight. He went and hired a lawyer, Dr. Ato and Dr. Erasmus Atajin, to come and help him. He went
that is the recognition that.
I want to set the record straight.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
Thank you.
Today you are a number. There's Dr. Defi, Dr. Ato.
Well, he went to hide them. He went and called them. He was begging them to come. That's why he didn't come early. Now he tried to get them here. So, but still, we are going to expose him.
And I have agreed. So can we go?
Okay, go on.
I know how to get you.
All right, so Dr. Ato, I don't know if you've been listening to us from the beginning. We've talked about a lot of things, but the one I'm interested in you addressing is it seems there are written rules for the administration to use. Like we said, there's so many empirical studies, as the vice president himself referred to, that point out to the fact that yes, it is important going forward that countries digitize their economies. Otherwise, they will not be competitive. If you look at the only institution that actually grades country or rates country on how ready they are to actually take advantage of the network power behind digitization, and I'm talking here about the World Economic Forums themselves, the country Ghana fell from 95 in 2019 to 98. We actually went down 3. When you look at 2014 and 2015, we went up from 102. Our position was 102 then from 2014, and we went up to 105. Why is it that all this investment is being made by the government, according to what Bawumia is saying, but our ranking is still actually heading in the wrong direction? Usato? Okay, I don't think Ato. If Ato is not ready, Efa, can you take that since you? And then once you're done, I'll bring Dr. Rasmus.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I greet each and everyone. You know, right. I'm sorry for being late. I got caught up in another meeting, and whatever you say about that, I take it. So we are here talking about digitalization, and all that you have. Dr. Bawumia has made a presentation. It is important that we recognize that, you see, all that we are doing is very important, and everybody has a role in contributing towards making sure that when we talk about certain things, computers and how they communicate and how we use all these things to effect development and to be efficient in the way we do things, it is something very good, and no one can get it right. Let us get that going now. So Dr. Bawumia made a presentation, and gave a very broad and a wide spectrum of what government is doing in terms of various aspects of the economy, health, all aspects, revenue collection, blah 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 blah, and he gave very stunning statistics on how far we've come as a people. Right. Because he made it, we can begin to put the politics into it, and that is perfectly fine. Then that was to be expected. Now, when you read through the politics of it after the presentation, what I see is a review. It's a review of what you've said. On one hand, we started this, we started that. On another hand, it's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie. We take all these things in good faith. But we would want, we always say that we cannot always get it right at all times. But it is important that as a country, we identify ourselves, so that it is sometimes it is very disheartening that at this time and age, we are now talking about issues like ID cards for each citizen. And we know what we went through. I don't want to go through that. But it is important that as long as we roll out this, we are seeing certain things in there. In fact, one of the statistics where we saw that about 4% or so of only lawyers were paying taxes. I stand to be corrected on the statistics, but they are very stunning statistics that are coming out. And this is in fact, we all have to thank ourselves for how far we've come. Who started it? What started it? I normally don't want to get into that unless I'm hit with it. That it is important that we cannot, as a country, be lagging behind when it comes to data collection, when it comes to computers, when it comes to technology, and when it comes to all that cybersecurity and all these kind of stuff. That we need to collect the data, we need to increase our revenue collection, and we need to grow the economy in whichever way. And if digitalizing all aspects of our economy will help us in this area, why not? When we go into the specific, we can talk about who did this and who did that. But once again, government is a continuous process. Somebody will start, somebody will continue. So this politics of who started what and what and what and what, I don't
but
think
it is when Bawumia speaks and takes credit as if all this were done by them. He said when 2017 came and they came into power, that the system they saw in place were not fit for purpose. But he has not talked about building any system per se to make it fit for purpose, besides just relying on the systems he met to. Because in one breath, you are saying that you rely on what you met to develop to this point. But then you turn around again and tell us that what you meant was not fit for purpose. So what is it?
So we can talk into specifics, and we can go.
Daniel, you are on mute, so take yourself off mute.
If we are going to go into word by word what you said,
I'm saying that how can any reasonable person say that the fiber optic that was built by NDC, the data center that we met, the computer center that we came to continue, that thing was not fit? When you say fit, not fit for purpose,
it's insane to say that is not fit for purpose.
No. Fit for purpose. Talking about interoperability. Interoperability, the way it worked. I mean, it wasn't the right thing. That was the challenge.
You are also being given examples that interoperability was even there.
No. Interoperability has always been there.
Interoperability wasn't there. It wasn't there.
It was there in Ghana in terms of when you send money to, like, Paul gave
No. It wasn't there. Don't even let us go. It wasn't there. That was the contract that was given to Satan that you never discuss here because it was going to go against, people that are controlling you over here. You never discuss that. I tried. So what was Satan for? You don't know that Satan was for the 1.2 billion was for Satan, and they were to do it. Then we came in and we fixed it. You see, so let's get it straight. There were mobile transactions, right? Mm-hmm. But you couldn't cross networks and you couldn't go to banks. You couldn't go to all these things, and that was what the interoperability was going to correct. And somebody was going. I don't even want to go into because that one is not part of the discussion. I don't want them we divert attention, but it is important that you see. Okay, so we can talk about specifics. Fiber optics has its role that is playing, its internet connection and how fast it is. Okay, so once that has been created, then we have other things you build up on it, So how do we build on other stuff, right? How do we use this platform to build on other platforms? Well, how do we make sure that if we don't have, say, a data collection and a national ID and we cannot identify, how do we create that one? Why should we wait a whole 8 years before we roll this out when Kufuor had already started something? Why do we have to wait a whole 8 years? For what purpose? Right. Why do we have to do that? So these are the things that we should leapfrog on. And you see, until
Alfred, I want Efa to answer this question for me. Is Efa and Daniel in any way trying to suggest that whatever Bawumia is claiming they have added over the last 5 years, are they in any way trying to suggest that if NDC had been in government till now, those things would have been that they are claiming they have done?
Wouldn't have been done.
You want us to go into the realm of enchantment and spiritism, of enchantment and spiritism to predict the future. You are not there till now, so we don't know. And what we know is that the ID card was started by Kufuor before he left office. It took 8 years. You didn't roll it out. That is a fact that we have on there. That there are so many things that we should have.
It is not true. I have Ghana card. The old Ghana card. I have that card and I still have it.
It was done, and they started.
I got my 2012.
They rolled it out,
like
they didn't roll it out at the level at the level at which the MPP has
card lacks some features. That is why they removed it from the system. To rebrand it so that they add more things to it. I got mine in 2012.
Okay, guys, so let's make this a structure, right? Because we have other people doing it. They have to speak. I know, Daniel, you have something to say, but I do have a couple of people who.
Let's be fair. Like I said, the NDC started rolling that. They started giving the card to foreigners. This. So they did roll something out, but the pace. They didn't roll it out at the pace and put so much effort and investment. That is what we are talking about here.
I'll let the NDC people address that for you. I let the NDC people address that when they come. And that's part of the
Alfred, when the frog comes out, when the frog comes out of the water, to tell you
the crocodile is
there, you have to believe it. And I'm happy that the frog is out of the water. I'm happy that the frog, in the form of Daniel, is out of the water.
If I can finish,
those things were there before they came in. So I'm happy.
No. Let's get it straight. What we have now in terms of Ghana card, we had to come in, put in a legislation, try to make sure that, we go through through parliament and stuff like that to roll what we have right now. What NDC was rolling out was a pilot and it wasn't fit for purpose. Let's get that straight. So hold on, let me finish. A legislation was sent to parliament, and then they made a point. We talked about blah blah blah, and they didn't want it as it is right now. They wanted the old one that was not fit for purpose. For which NDC went on. NDC as a political party wrote to its members to boycott it. Okay. To boycott. Okay. The current one. But immediately they said that, if I can finish, they can come in and talk. So immediately they said that the president, the ex-president Mahama went for his, and other members of the nation went for theirs. They never went there. So their party members got to know that we are being deceived, and then they went for theirs. So let's get all these things also situated in their proper context.
Look, I know governments come, contracts change, and things that were planned are not delivered. It doesn't give you a good basis to
I agree with that. But,
okay.
Alfred, yeah. Let them tell us within the 8 years, right? Within the 8 years, how many cars were issued?
Okay, we'll get them to answer that question. But
how many cars were, and how much was spent?
Let me bring the other guests into the conversation.
Let the other guests come in.
Yes, Dr. Ato, you were, I don't know if you listened to us from the beginning, but in other words, it sounds to me like Bawumia is taking more credit than they've actually done, but again, the strategists or the communication team here is making it clear to me that we should let them communicate their successes the way they want to communicate them. That the NDC can go and communicate their successes however they want. Truth is that the NDC should be taking some very big credit. Do you think this is just a game of communication that, again, the NPP seem to be having an upper hand?
I mean, first of all, apologies to your analysts and your viewers for being late. I blame Paul for that. I had a flat tire, so I had to go get it fixed.
Oh my God!
I blame Paul for that. I mean, interesting. I, for one, I'm really disappointed in Bawumia because of the economy. But you can't but to admire him. Just wonder. Today we have 300 people coming on your show because of what? Bawumia. The piece he rents space in the NDC's mind. He rents space.
Hey, he's ready. The campaign has started. Seriously, I'm telling you.
Yes, it seems that NDC has done a lot, but they also always talk about the Green Book. I don't know what's in the Green Book. I don't know, but I know Bawumia is talking about so many things that he has done. So, like, I listened to what Dan said. The NDC is doing so much for this country, but they are not talking about it. But the moment Bawumia comes up to say one thing, he moves an inch, the NDC would have to respond. I'm disappointed about Bawumia because, one, he talked about the fundamentals we have not seen. Right. We have not seen that. But Bawumia, I, for one, I'm over here, can send money to my grandmother in Ayeldo, in Central Region. This is about Bawumia's time. Before Bawumia did that, I have to go to, say, Union, I have to go to other places. But right now, people sit here in Chicago, send money to my grandmother in Ayeldo, in Central Region. So if he comes to tell me that, hey, so I'm able to do this for you, I know he's telling me. Then this book, they're unable to talk about their stuff. They always talk about Bawumia. So I, for one, I'm not a fan of Bawumia, but because I see him as an academician, we talk about being good with communication. What does JM be able to achieve in terms of forgetting his achievements? Nothing. But the moment Bawumia comes out to say one thing, you see Dr. Lawrence, then you see Paul DeSoso, then you see Lifetime, all coming together to report him. And I dare the NDC to come up and challenge him. Right now, I don't know who in the NDC, vice president, who speaks every time, and even before he spoke, the answers were panicking. So I'm amazed that you have academicians in the NDC. Nobody's able to respond. Some of the stuff he's talking about is very basic. But he do it. You can sit and say, and the NDC brought all the fiber.
I think it's a great storyteller, though. You could tell how he relates to them. He takes it.
But you can't fault him. You can't fault him. He's an academic and he's doing the right way. Although, like I said, last week we discussed about how to create jobs. I'm thinking about Mia will come up with the slightest idea and will come up on TV and say, I did A, B, and C, and he knows that NDC will respond. So going forward, as we enter into the political season, the NDC should be wary of some of these things. And the way they respond, they give oxygen. It's called oxygen amplification. So some of these things, right now in Ghana, nothing is about than Bawumia. What is very basic in this country. What is the NDC doing talking about all these things? Paul talks about, I didn't even know about the optics being done by NDC until today. Why so? So Amuzu, I'm surprised and I'm disappointed that the NDC are being always very reactive, not proactive in situations. And if you think about Bawumia all the time, he's going to be on the ballot in 2020. It's going to be a very big headache. Because my grandmother somewhere in the village knows that Bawumia is doing something to help her get money. Thank you.
So, Alfred, let me react quickly to what he just said. Let me put it on record. The NDC as a party, we are not going to waste our time to respond to this lies.
You are right now doing that.
Doctor, let me explain. Doctor,
the whole report is responding to Bawumia. There's nobody challenging. There's nobody who has the audience to challenge Bawumia in terms of what he's doing.
Doctor, let me explain. The NDC officially is not going to respond to Dr. Bam because all what he came to say were lies.
There's nobody to respond. There's nobody.
However, individual communicators like myself, Dr. Lawrence, Lifetime Legacy, and other communicators, including our communication officer, Sami Jemfi, have decided to expose the lies he keep on throwing into the eyes of the good people of Ghana. Well, whatever you said.
Whatever is what I'm saying, the NDC is a platform that will lead to whoever comes up to challenge Bawumia. That's what I'm saying.
So basically, what you are asking for is, and the person to do that would have been John Dramani Mahama himself. This is
Alfred. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will not waste his time.
You
see, all what the man came to do. All the man came to,
NDC,
spoke
when
about
people are advising the NDC, they don't get
80% lies.
You are comparing Sami Jemfi to Bawumia. You think that if they stand and they communicate, somebody who is serious, listening to both of them.
Please listen. Listen. In the history of Ghana, I've never seen a vice president have so much power, so much that when he comes out to speak, I've never seen one. Never in the history of the country where a vice president comes out to speak. And it's a big deal.
I am telling you, because of the lies, the consistent lies he's been lying to the good people of Ghana. That is why you think he only talk. People are. Look at the survey, Doctor. To be honest, let's be honest to ourselves. After he spoke, Metro TV did a survey. TV3 did a survey. Did you see the outcome of the survey? Did you look at the number of people who are saying that he's a liar?
You want to talk about surveys in Ghana?
This man is a liar.
I think one thing you should understand too is that
even in America here, surveys are questionable in America here. You want to talk about surveys?
It's not even about the questionability of service, right? But one thing we should understand is, look at the diplomatic corps. Everybody was there. The embassies were represented. People were represented to listen. Because this person speaking is likely to be the next president.
Alfred. I agree.
The NDC should agree,
but
the same magnitude.
The diplomatic corps.
The NDC don't have an expert to respond to him. They don't have an expert.
A liar. They know he's a liar, and he's the chief propagandist in the party. The party use him to throw.
The NDC is calling you a liar. Know that you're speaking the truth.
You see, this is free advice to the NDC. You guys better get your ass, because I want competitive politics. That is my nature. Because that is how a country develops. You get what I'm trying to say? You guys have to. You live in this country.
We will not waste our time on a liar.
Don't worry.
Like Bawumia. When we talk about integrity,
to Ghana. Oracle, Alphabet, all these gurus are coming to Ghana based on lies.
When we talk about integrity, when we talk about integrity, Daniel, let me land. When we talk about integrity over here, all of you over here speaking for MPP, you all have integrity than Bawumia. You all have integrity.
I have the same platform like that platform. You are
angle of this discussion. I'm going to play the video about one.
Let's listen to Dr. Jemfi. Let's listen to Dr. Jemfi.
But before I bring Dr. Jemfi in, there is one aspect of what Bawumia said that impacts we the most.
Alfred, that's all lies. That's all lies.
Well, hold on. He's talking about the Ghana card,
Ghana passport,
and visa, how you travel.
That is
I want Dr. Jemfi to tackle that for me. I want him
to let's discuss that. Let's discuss that. Yeah. He said he passport. He didn't say physical passport. E-passport, get the difference.
Yeah.
Alfred, after that, we talk about Sewa Bruni.
Alfred, play for Dr. Tajefi to speak, because I know if I went and hide him to come and speak for him. So play.
All right, so let's listen to the tape. When we come back, we'll hear from Dr. Tajefi.
Digitalization addressing the issue of a unique identity for the population. On coming into office, we quickly moved with the issuance of the biometric national ID cards, the Ghana card, to the population. The Ghana card project was initiated by President Kufuor, but was practically abandoned for 8 years. We revived the process. So far, 15.7 million people have been enrolled on the Ghana card by the NIA, and most of them will be enrolled, most of the population will be enrolled by next year. With the Ghana card, the identity of people, even dead people, can be established using their fingerprints. Ghanaian and other embassies abroad will be able to establish the identity of Ghanaians using fingerprints. Identity can be established even without the Ghana card. As long as you are enrolled on the database and you put your fingers on the application, you can be verified. It is not widely known, ladies and gentlemen, that the Ghana card is also an e-passport that contains biometric information that can be used to authenticate the identity of travelers. The government, since this year, has been working with the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, to globally activate the e-passport function of the Ghana card. And I'm happy to announce that on 13th October this year, the Ghana officially became the 79th member of the International Civil Aviation Organization Public Key Directory Community. Ghana's country signing certificate authority would therefore soon be imported into the PKD system through what is known as a key ceremony. The key ceremony for Ghana will be held at ICAO headquarters in Montreal before the end of the first quarter of 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, what does all this mean? This means that by the end of the first quarter next year, the Ghana card will be recognized globally as an e-passport and can be read and verified in all ICAO compliant borders. That is 197 countries, 44,000 airports in the world. When this happens, holders of the Ghana card will be allowed to board any flight to Ghana. Furthermore, the good news for diasporan Ghanaians is that when the Ghana Immigration Service is linked to the NIA architecture, and that will be soon, diasporan Ghanaians who hold the Ghana card should not have to obtain visas to return to Ghana.
All right, so that last piece there where he said the diasporan Ghanaians who have a Ghana card will not have to obtain visa is what a lot of people are taking issue with. Dr. Erasmus Atajenfi, I don't know if a Ghanaian who lives in a diaspora who wants to go to Ghana actually requires a visa. Except that they have to be a citizen of the country they are living. So you are living in America, you're an American citizen, you're having an American passport. Now, is he saying that if you're a dual citizen and all you need is the Ghana card to make that travel, or is he saying you don't need passport no more? What is this? Even in the United States, there's a travel card that we have, but it can only take you to Canada. But my understanding is this Ghana card is talking about that it will be part of a 76 country.
197 countries.
197 countries by the International Civil Aviation Organizations. That will soon make it possible for Ghanaians to travel. What is your take on this? Do you believe this to be the case? And if that is not something that is already ongoing, that Ghanaians can travel without what Bawumia is referring to?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Hello guys, hello Paul. I know you've been hearing from me for a minute, but I'm glad to be back.
By the way, sorry, Paul and you guys are both Akraka.
Yes. We're all black people, so
yeah.
We have our
so I'll not attack him. Oh, as for him, I won't attack him.
That is why they are smart folks.
When we meet on the Akraka level, it's a different ballgame. We don't do politics over there.
Yes.
We are all brothers there.
Yes.
So I think what Dr. Bawumia was referring to is the little rule that we have where if you were like a United States citizen and you were a Ghanaian citizen to the dual citizen and you could just get a Ghanaian passport and you don't need a visa to go back home. So me, for instance, I don't need a visa to go back home because I have a Ghanaian passport. So I go home, I use my passport, my US passport to check out here. I get to Ghana. I deliver my Ghanaian passport and my US passport to the immigration authorities. They let me in. No questions asked. Okay? I think that's what he was referring to. I don't think we've gotten to the point where we don't even have a dual citizenship that's properly curated for us to do all that. So, that was a little bit more flesh.
On that note, I'm told in Germany, if you want, somebody can correct me. If you wanted to be a citizen, you have to give if you're a Ghanaian, you have to give up your Ghanaian citizenship.
You have to give your this out
the German. Yes. So that their situation is different from we in the America. So such a person, if you had a Ghana card, wouldn't it be able to come easily without having to go for a visa? Because if you have a German visa,
a Ghanaian passport will be the same. So
but if you had a German passport and you're green it up, and that means so the way the Germans operate, based on what you're saying, then it means they are truly strict on dual citizenship. Just like Ghana right now, they are not allowing dual citizenship. So you can't be a dual citizen. So then it doesn't work for you as a citizen of Germany. So I think that's all. So that's why he said, well, there are, how many countries? Over 200 countries in the world?
197.
So
197. He said 197.
Okay, 197.
And how many countries do we have in it's not going to be operational.
So it's only one minus one.
I think he said 76.
He said 197.
Paul is trying very hard. So what he said, the 76 or 70 something that he mentioned were those within the ICTAD, the international something that Ghana is becoming a member. Yeah.
So Dr. Atajimfi, I mean, I agree with you, but the fact is that whatever the Dr. Bawumia said is a lie. The Ghana card,
and that's where Paul. Let me just interrupt you for a little bit.
Sure.
This is where I really have a challenge, especially with my NDC people. I know this is a political strategy. You had a lot of trouble in the last 2 election cycles, where Bawumia kind of like made you guys beat a retreat, and so you are really trying so hard to damage his integrity, given that you think he's going to be the flag bearer, and then he pays with this. Is a political strategy. I get it. And this whole thing about he's a liar thing, you're doing it, and then he's taking seed in your supporters' mind. Probably some independence. But the guy is not a liar. Yeah, look, it's if you do finance, and a lot people who are finance people on this platform will tell me, if you do finance, there might be numbers that you would say based on if you do forecasting, it's all based on historical analysis. And we did a historical analysis during Muhammad's time. Numbers were bad. We predicted certain numbers. It probably doesn't look like it should. We expected it to look, because things have gotten better. We had COVID. The guy is not a liar. Numbers are off.
Dr. Tajimfi, it's good if you brought this topic. No, Alfred, let me address this. It's good if you brought this topic. Look, the MPP continue to lie. Let's talk about the numbers now. Let's talk about the numbers.
Bawumia was quoting the tax per GDP that is collected, and even that, I think he made the number he quoted was wrong. He's saying that we get
Alfred, you are a host, so
this is where. So Alfred, and sorry, Paul, I keep interrupting. I'm sorry. I'm really
no.
But
I'm happy. Intellectuals are here. I'm not a finance guy, but at least I know the numbers for a fact.
Right.
Look, what are the numbers? In 2016, we held the election, right? NDC, based on the budget, the deficit was 6.1%. In 2020, election was held. Deficit is 15.6, the most highest in the last 40 years in the history of Ghana.
Okay, so can I?
If you know, hold on.
Can I give you a little bit backdrop?
No. Let me give my analysis. Let me give you this analysis. Then you come in. Number 2, 2016. It was true that at the end of it, the economy grew by 3.4. That oil included. Okay. Now in 2020, COVID. Your economy grew by 0.9%, are you included? Now, the case you guys make is that because of COVID. But I want to set the record straight this afternoon that in 2015, 2016, we had external shocks and internal shocks. What are the external shocks? The external shocks were, number 1, the Sankofa oil field. The machine was broke down and we're not producing oil for 9 solid months. That went against us.
So, Paul, what's your point? I think you've made
my point is that I want to set the record straight that Dr. Tajemfi is saying that yes, Bawumia, if you look at the figures, it is not true.
No, he's saying that even he's disappointed, or Bawumia, they're disappointed in the numbers they are getting.
So if that's what he said, then I agree with him. If that's what he said, then I agree with him. If that's what he's saying, then I agree with him 100%.
Opportunity to punch, but the things you are doing, you are hitting the low balls. Yeah, like you are hitting under the belt. There are more things you should be hitting them on. You are hitting him on lying, but punch at the numbers.
The numbers will come. This time around, Alfred, we have a good communication officer, and this time around, we are going to match them.
They are also saying that when the president, when Bawumia speaks, the hierarchy, the echelon of where that is coming from should be met appropriately by the NDC. The NDC can send Sami Jemfi to go and answer to
the communication officer.
Policy statements being made by the sitting vice president. It should take somebody who wants to be president to respond to those policy statements.
The president will respond if they are true. As far as Bawumia keep on lying, throwing dust into our eyes, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will never waste his time. He will never waste his time to respond to Bawumia because Bawumia is a liar.
It's a fine opportunity because these are the things. I mean, this is development of Ghana. This is very important. We talk about
they don't have the effort to match it.
Yeah.
Okay. You see, let me add this thing. Let me say this thing. Then you can.
Dr. Jemfi has the floor.
Let me say this thing. Look. All of us on this platform, Dr. Jemfi included, Dr. Tu included, my good brother Ifa included, and then my brother Daniel included. Deep down within them, if they want to analyze Bawumia's speech he gave 2 days ago, they know that half of it is not true. Right. But they are party members, so they can't come and sit on a platform and be exposing Bawumia. They will never do that. But the question is, we are saying that if Bawumia come out to be clean and to be truthful, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will come and answer him. But if you continue to come to lie and throw dust, Mahama will never waste his time on answering him. We, the communicators, will punch holes and expose him.
Okay, Dr. Aram was finished, and then I want to go to Dr. Lawrence so that he can.
Let me finish quickly. Let me make a couple of points. So, look, like I said, it's an NEC strategy. Nobody's worried about that. It's politics. We'll take it on a chin and keep it moving. So this is what I'm going to say. The digital strategy that we have as a party, it's great. We are reducing corruption. We are providing convenience. We are reducing the cost of service through reduction of corruption. We are also enhancing compliance because the systems that we had in place, it just, first of all, you couldn't actually work any type of compliance with the rules that we had wasn't convenient. Look, if you needed a birth certificate, if you needed anything else, you had to go through multiple middlemen, pay money to people. Look, that's convenience right there. Of course, if you had a middleman, you had to, grease their pockets.
Not everybody has a
Also,
middleman,
reduction.
so it becomes
Exactly.
difficult.
So a lot convenience, cost, corruption. We are trying to, and it would go a long way. This has nothing to do with truth or lies. It's the fact. Technology is fact. It's all out there. So what we're doing right now is supposed to help the people. Eventually, we're going to reduce corruption. Yes, we're supposed to focus on the economy. There's only so much you can do until we get out of the COVID menace, right? So at this point, you can talk all you want. Like I said, it's your political strategy, but we are doing this because there are bigger things on our minds. We want to solve corruption. We want to reduce fraud. We want to provide convenience. And this is helpful. Thank you.
Dr. Jemfi, Alfred, I have a question for Dr. Jemfi.
Hold your question, because I want to bring Dr. Lawrence in. Dr. Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a co-host now. Dr.
Who is the co-host?
Lifetime Legacy. Here's one question.
I should admit that when this has been one of the educative programs whereby both parties have put in politics aside and we are speaking to the truth and data.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Paul is also say that again.
All right, so guys, I know we've been here for 2.5 hours almost, but I am willing to stay for maybe a couple more minutes if you guys are willing to support that. But I want to bring Dr. Lawrence in so that he can. I'm sure he's tired. He's been on a couple of this already for the day. Dr. Lawrence.
I'm preparing my next article for Monday or Tuesday.
I would love for you to tell us what it would be about before you finish your submission now. But Dr. Lawrence, I'm still not convinced. that the NDC is properly responding to this political, what do you call it? Honeypots. Pretty much, it's a political honeypot because now, if you're familiar with honeypots, it's a trap you set so that the ants will come and lick it and get stuck in it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It almost sounds like the NDC should actually meet this and use this as an opportunity in responding to this. Use this as an opportunity to educate the Ghanaians about what they did. And not only that, but also what their plans are going forward or in 2020 when they come back into power. I think that fine opportunity is being missed, and it's because the NDC is not responding or has not. I don't know if there are plans to respond at the very highest levels, but I think that is necessary. What do you say?
Yes, I agree with you. But as my friend Paul has constantly and be saying on this platform, that NDC will not waste our time and respond to lies. I mean, my friend Paul has said it several times and keep saying it. Mm-hmm. You see, we are focused, and 2020 is a do or die affair for us, and that is what we are focused.
You are talking 2020. We went past 2020 long ago. You are staying in your past. Okay, go and do and that.
No, I said 2024.
but Dr. Lawrence, this is very much 2024 because what Bawumia went and did is a political campaign.
Yes,
it's a campaign.
I just explained to you.
It's a small attention span in the country and that we are all competing for. Yeah,
Alfred, I told you that what Bawumia did 2 days ago is just to cover the bad news for his government. There is nothing good in what he said. I mean, at the appropriate time, we know the flag bearer of the NDC, President John Mahama, will give a policy statement on this digitization thing, and he would come up with whatever will be needed beyond 2024. Right. Do you understand? What Bawumia did is just to cover the bad news of the government. And the bad news is Sewa Bruni and the president going to sleep in Glasgow when he has been sent to go and represent the country.
So
Ghana.
are you saying that I don't know if you are you telling us that perhaps maybe on his because he has a tour in Accra, right, starting next week or so?
Yeah.
There is so do you think he would address the digitization or sort of give us a policy statement on digitization?
Probably, but
Okay.
but I can assure you that he wouldn't go in that tangent that Dr. Bawumia has gone.
Right.
You understand? He would come and tell Ghanaians what he did during his 4 years as president between 2012 and 2016. I mean, and he wouldn't take credit like Dr. Bawumia is doing. Dr. Bawumia hasn't done anything, but he's taking credit for basically everything. Like they started from the scratch. I mean, and I think I like what Daniel is saying, that it is a system. I mean, it's integrated, or something was there before. Incremental, correct. Something was there before they came. Bawumia never mentioned that. Bawumia never mentioned that.
Bawumia is in campaign mode.
Yeah, he can go ahead and do that. That's why Paul keeps saying that we won't answer to Bawumia's lies. And
see, what we are saying is that, right, the campaign messages are content, and content, you need a lot of them out there, and the network effect happens so that more people can hear it and hear your positions. If you are not responding appropriately at the highest levels as quickly, remember, soon as Mahama was talking about Komenda, Akufo-Addo went to what do you call it? Peace FM, talked to Kwame Sefa, responded, made it right there.
Can I come in here? Can I come in here?
So
Look,
this is where I'm saying
when we want to talk about communication and we want to talk about messages. 2020 election, the NDC manifesto was on top, and my brother Ifa and Dr. Lauren and Dr.
I agree. That has been one of their best
exactly.
manifesto.
You understand
in the NDC, but
so
not compared to the
an
NDC.
issue.
In the NDC sector, that has been one of your best because you took time.
Thank you for acknowledging that.
But it doesn't compare to the
manifesto, though.
I am telling you, Alfred. I am telling you that in 2024, the same thing is going to play. Admit, and we all admit over here. Look, anybody who is an NDC member who has followed the party should sit here and tell me that 2016 we were on top of communication. We all knew we didn't do what in 2016. On top of communication, we were zero. The MPP had a better communication machinery.
Being made again, right?
No, that mistake is not being made again. 2020 election, we were on top of communication. We silenced the NPP when it came to manifesto. Our manifesto was on top of town.
I don't think it's about manifesto, though.
Hold on. Our manifesto was
people are not reading. People are not there reading that.
I have made a case over here consistently to tell you that the 2020 election was not won by Akufo-Addo.
Me, I have a platform.
I've made my case several times over here. I've told you the 2020 election, it was rigged.
The illiterate voting agents did not help. The illiterate voting agents, so next time let them be literate.
If I like that. So for Dr. Lawrence, what Dr. Lawrence is telling you is that in 2024, we are going to still capitalize on the campaign strategy we used in 2020. But this time, we are going to be very vigilant, open our eyes. It's going to be do or die. We will not allow the excesses that happened in 2020, whereby they use their vigilante forces to infiltrate the elections, put a collation center, and then police centers when collation was being done. It's not going to happen again. I can tell you for a fact that as much as we are going to contest the 2024 election, the NPP have no campaign message. The corruption and things that has happened them, they cannot even talk about it. We are going to be in charge. We are going to control the media space. And if you care and watch, Mahama is already controlling the media space. Anytime Mahama stand up and go and say anything, it becomes the news of top in town. Okay. So for me, I am agreeing and I support Dr. Lawrence. We will not waste our time to respond to lies. When Bawumia come and speak the truth, we will respond to it equally. But to come and lie and throw lies into our eyes, no. Mahama will not waste his time. Dr. Lawrence, myself, Legacy, and other communicators will punch holes, expose them, and expose Dr. Bawumia for all the world to know he's the most lying president ever on earth we have seen in the history of the world.
Okay, great. So I want
Yeah,
to bring in
and so Alfred,
Yeah.
to conclude,
Yes.
to conclude, 2024, on the part of communication, I think we would stay where we were in 2020, and maybe we would just improve on it a little bit. But like Paul said, we are not going to let former President John Dramani Mahama answer to the lies of Dr. Bawumia. If Dr. Bawumia says something,
that is going to be his opponent. It's just like saying that
Alfred, who
that
told
is
you
going to
that?
be his opponent in
Alfred, who
the
told you
election.
that? Doctor,
yeah, let him.
Alan Chamate could have been opponent, can be
both.
opponent.
Oh,
So
no. We know
listen.
that's not going to happen. Come on.
Listen.
I know if I support
Bawumia.
I know if I
We
support
don't care whether it's Alan or Bawumia. We are ready for the NDC. Alan,
let Bawumia.
I mean, if you're reading the tea leaves, the MPP is positioning Bawumia. I mean, it's clear.
I agree. That's what they did. That's what they did.
Alfred,
like Alan is not even in the media doing nothing.
Let me finish with my submission.
So,
when Alan starts speaking, they will see that they are far behind.
We don't have a presidential candidate now.
No,
we only have
exactly.
government officials performing their duties.
That is what I'm going to say next. Right now, NDC does not have any presidential candidate. MPP does not have any presidential candidate.
You are naive. You will say so.
And we will not allow somebody we have in mind, the NDC, we will not allow somebody we have in mind to be responding to the lies of Dr. Bawumia. I mean, at best, we would ask him to give policy statements and on some of these things, on the economy, digitalization, and everything that has been going on, but not in direct response to what Dr. Bawumia has said. So, I mean, President Akufo-Addo can respond to former President Mahama because they are at the same level. But
I think it's a mistake.
Well, that is why you might think, but we will let Sami Jemfi respond to
you, the man is an old man. He's leaving office. You are going to waste your time responding to him.
Don't worry about.
No. Listen, Daniel. If I don't know whether you were here, I think in 22.
Can respond to Mahama because Mahama has another chance to be president. So it's appropriate when we respond to him. But Akufo-Addo, 78-year-old man who is leaving office, he's even taking about his time.
Listen.
They don't even have anybody apart from Mahama. They don't even have anybody.
Yeah,
all the others will be silent.
Listen.
With all these brains,
do you know?
Daniel, if you are following, politics in Ghana, you know for sure that you can predict easily the two candidates we are going to have. So I'm saying that one candidate has the
MPP. Please, Alfred, MPP, you cannot predict their flag bearer. Because remember what Sir John said. So Sir John told MPP guys that fear delegates. So you cannot predict them. So take that. And Daniel, to answer your question about Akufo-Addo going, Akufo-Addo leaving office, he would have a very strong say and a very strong voice in who succeeds him in the MPP. Now, when you remember what the Republicans did to Bill Clinton when Al Gore was going to succeed him, they put Bill Clinton in a box that he couldn't campaign for Al Gore. And that forced Al Gore to say he is his own man. And as soon as they said, Al Gore said he is his own man, the Republicans also capitalized on it. So that is what we are trying to do. We want to spoil Akufo-Addo with Sewa Bruni and the sleeping galore. And then once we finish that and we are able to box Nana Akufo-Addo in the corner where he cannot campaign for his successor, then we will see who will carry the day at the end of 2024.
Good luck with that.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. I don't know if Dr. To, I know you're having some technical problems in and out. If you can hear me,
he's going to blame me. Dr. To is going to blame me. Yes,
I can hear you now.
Yeah, so you can talk to. I was going to play a video again, but I think we are videoed out today. But interestingly, right, they are making the vice president made the claim that they are investing in Ghana.gov and applications that are going to make it easy for people to file taxes, that they've been using digitization to modernize the domestic revenue collection, but our tax to GDP ratio continued to decline. In fact, in 2015, it was 18%. As we speak, we are referring to 12%. How is it that you are increasing digitization to make it easy for you to collect more of the taxes that the citizens will pay to you? Meanwhile, you are collecting less. The numbers from our national data doesn't support.
The project is not completed. Sorry about that. The project is not completed yet.
Okay.
No, it's because they are doing theories. Dr. Bawumia is talking theory. He's not linking it practically.
Well, Dr. Lawrence,
that is the problem.
That is off the mark. Let's
I think Daniel should take this one because I thought dropped out, so you take it.
I always tell you that whenever you are doing any analysis, context, environment, timing, it's important. Otherwise, everything that we discuss, it's always even what we are discussing here, everything is about relative comparison, relativism. That is a communication. When you are communicating on the margins, you are communicating essentially relativism. You are comparing to something. So if you don't have context and you just take things out of the blue and just run with it, I'm sorry, you end up talking nicely, but then the analysis will not be based on any strong foundation. You are talking about implementing this digital thing to collect taxes in a period where we are in a COVID environment, economic activity has gone down and it's about picking up. And even this app thing has not been fully adopted throughout. It is in the early adoption stage. So if you don't put this timing on top of the environment that, okay, we are now recovering, this economy has gone down, and then you see that reflecting in your tax revenue, there should be a reason why you are getting that tax revenue. Let the economy fully recover and let the app get full adaptation. Now you can compare the efficacy of the app. Otherwise, what analysis are you doing?
Percentages don't behave the way you are saying it. Because
no. That number you're giving me could be correct, but I'm giving you that there's a reason why that number. There's a reason why that number exists. You have to understand the context of that number.
Yeah, so let me clear some context.
That is why the NDC get confused. They'll come and tell us we have deficit of 15%, and we had deficit of 3% when we were faced with this external shock. And yet, why come that we didn't go to IMF bailout, and you guys went to IMF bailout?
You have got IMF have given you $1 billion.
So how can we be able to get IMF $1 billion without any conditionalities? And yet you were forced to go for
because they gave it to you on humanitarian grounds.
Well, that is what you said.
So on humanitarian grounds.
Timing and context and environment is key. That's
Daniel, one of the things I want you to understand is that if there's COVID and it impacted our economy, GDP will fall. All right, GDP is not going to be as high as, and of course, it impacted our GDP to a certain extent. But we're also saying that the tax you will collect will also fall, but we are doing the percentages of the two. So the absolute will be, the absolute doesn't really matter. If your GDP didn't grow and you didn't collect enough taxes, we are looking at the percentage that you were able to collect.
May call Ghana.
Hold on. Dr. Lawrence, if you can mute yourself, let me see. Where is he?
Just mute him. I think he forgot.
Okay, got him. Yeah, so
I'm with you. I'm not saying the number that you quoted. That is why if you're an economic, whatever, you are a president, a government, you analyze the economy, you need to understand the drivers of your economy. You need to understand what drives that outcome. And then see that what is the issue here. That is why we do analysis. Otherwise, I mean, if you can't be a government and everything is rosy, 1-2 step, that would be lazy thinking. You have to understand how come, like you are saying, that's a good question to ask. How come I'm having this app adoption come into place and the economy is recovering and I'm getting these numbers? You start have to look at what that issue, and I've analyzed it and I've given you my opinion. You can give me another counter opinion, and then we'll see which one makes sense. We'll see which one the facts support. That is how
I think it's good that you guys were able to clarify that the app is not there yet, because
no, it's not there yet. These are early adoption. We are telling people to be aware. These things are out there. They are coming. Take use of them. That is why the vice president needs to communicate it. That way, people take it serious. If I communicated that, Alfred, I don't get the same mileage like the vice president communicating that same thing to the Ghanaian public. So you see the strategy. That is why I said the NDC will not teach us how to communicate our policies and our, achievement. If they can do theirs, that is up to them. I don't want to even talk about them now. So that's what I'm telling you.
Okay, great. It's been great conversation so far. We've done a lot of hours, a lot of time in here. Let's wrap it all up. Let's put it all up in a nice tie, and let our viewers understand what the issues were, what positions we've discussed today, and the understanding or what what they should take out of today's discussion. Let me see who should we start with. I know I've been trying to get Ato, but he's in and out. So Lifetime Legacy, you've been with us from the beginning. Wrap up your version for us. You've listened to all the tapes we played from the vice president. He is saying that component of IT or digital infrastructure development or that has to deal with content application development within the local system, how government is able to leverage that to increase services and connections between citizens and how they interact with the government. That they have found a solution. They are able to develop that. They came to meet some infrastructure, which he did fail. He failed to mention. He's not going to mention it to benefit or to speak for his predecessor, but we understand that. But he's saying that the infrastructures that they met, and they've taken that and they found good use for them. And that has been a strategy of this current government. So you've listened to all this, and your response to that in summary, I'm giving you 2 minutes to finish that. In summary, and what is it that you feel like the listener should take away from what your understanding of everything the vice president said was?
So, Alfred and listeners, I want to put it on record that as far as
Lifetime Legacy, 2 minutes.
As far as the digitalization and IT is concerned in Ghana, no party under the Fourth Republic have a record that can match that of NDC.
Right.
I also want to put on record that NDC have started to take steps to digitize the system way back in Rawlings' era, where Victor Solomon and co ended up in jail. They were supposed to automate the courts then. So it is clear that when it comes to digitization and technology in Ghana, no party have the superior record compared to NDC. The mediocre things Bawumia is talking at this material time, if NDC had been in power, this is not what we'll be talking, but now we would have done more as far as the nation is concerned. Our record.
But what is that more? I think we're not hearing that more. What is that more that you would have done?
Alfred,
in 1 minute.
If you listen to our manifesto, even leading to 2020 election, John Mahama promised running the economy on 24 hours. You get it? John Mahama also mentioned, what do you call it? Using barcode. He talked about a lot on IT. You get it? That will run the economy.
So what you're saying is, if we want to know what you would have done, we should go back to the 2020 manifesto, the People's Manifesto of the NDC. Is that what you're saying?
So what I want to say is that we have a superior ideas than what Bawumia is talking about. And the record also attests to the advantage of NDC of what we have done in the past. Like I said on this platform, before I got into US or sometime 2015, 2016, you can borrow money from MTN using the operability system to borrow money or to run a lot of transactions. So all that Bawumia is saying now existed before they came into power.
Okay.
For me, they have done nothing new. They are only trying to take glory on where it doesn't exist. The Ghana card, for instance, the contracts that has come that is implemented the Ghana card rollout.
It was awarded, and I think you said the person.
We did it. Right? So they did not come to do anything new. Okay, so like I said earlier on, Bawumia had noticed that his bid to become the flag bearer of MPP is not flying. Alan, the research has shown that Alan have taken over the campaign.
I don't believe it for 1 second.
So
I don't believe that.
They will just find a way to throw dust in the eyes of the public.
Yeah,
so
I think the MPP is indicating that Bawumia all the way. That is my belief, but well, we'll see. Okay, thanks for your summary there, and thanks for coming today. You've always appreciated your presence and the contributions you make. The viewers would agree. Thank you so much. Let's go to Mr. Efa Ameyo. Since even though you came late, I'd like to hear what your take is on the political honeypot that has been set out there by Bawumia.
I am in the kitchen preparing my fufu, so sorry about that kind of stuff. You see the way legacy just wrap up. That is what puts us into this has done this hasn't done anything, and that. And I think that just as Dan has always been saying, that does not put us in a proper context. When you take technology in Ghana, right? From since I think was it Mobitel in 1992, 1998. Also came to Ghana when we started all these things. There has been that consistent flow of, what do we add? What do we add on? Yeah. So if at a point in time there was this idea of fiber optics, it wasn't known earlier. It was like, I think it was 1952 or so. So as and when we realized that as a country, oh, this is the direction we're going, let's add on, and you add on, it doesn't mean you've done everything. You cannot say on this platform that since this government came, they have done nothing.
Right.
See, that is what we do. That has done nothing. Where does that take us? This is my project. That is my project. You see, talk about your project, right? Hammer on the specifics that we've done. It is during our time that we rolled out this current ID card. Of course, it has started all the way from Kufuor's time, right? Maybe he put in place one or two stuff, he couldn't, you came, blah, blah, blah. But on a massive rollout, and there was a time when you guys told your supporters to boycott it. So if you did it and it was good, why are you telling your people to boycott it? So we don't want to go into that banter. They like that too much, then they it's no focus. You see, there has been a consistent flow, and we're building on. Like I'm saying, when you are talking about computer technology, digitization, there's a whole component to it, right? You did it part, that person is doing that part. But as a country, we cannot lag behind when it comes to these things. The vice president has made all these presentations, right? What I want to see is a critic of it. or situating it in the right perspective. Now, the question of numbers of whether the Ghana card will be you see, these are already existing. Some countries use these cards for international travels without using passports. So these are things that already exist, right? So we ask questions that how do we as Ghana position ourselves as far as we have the next 3 years to go, right? We MPP believe we're going to win the 2024 election. You believe we're going to. What is the policy direction? This is what is in the pipeline. This is what we are going to. But if you tell me that you had the greatest idea in a manifesto, and a manifesto is something that you're going to realize. Unfortunately, you couldn't win the election. Put it together. What
do you want the viewers to take away from what Bawumia said and what your spin on that is?
Yeah, that it is true. It is true that as a country, we have not been able to have a national database based on which we can pinpoint to certain things. That is perfectly true. And that now, as we speak, based on the population census, we have half of that collected. And the government is going to roll out the next, using the Ghana card to collect all these data. Every single one of them. Roll it out internationally and do all that. It is true that certain things we couldn't done previously, but now we're doing them. This mobile, it doesn't matter who brought it first. This mobile transfer.
Every dreamer build one thing. Hey!
No, this this mobile transfer between consumers, that when you go to the village without internet, there are so many things you can do, right? These are all the connectivity and the things how do we improve upon it? How are people talking about it? So that we move on to the next thing, because you see, technology is catching up. People in the rural areas are catching up. Connectivity is very important. The internet and how fast it goes is very important. You see, as we speak, sometimes you know that people in Ghana, because of the connectivity issue, they're talking about, oh, my internet is not. How do we improve upon that? That is what the discussion centers, and that is what Bawumia is saying. When we came, this and this is what we've done, whether it is new or whether it is improved upon the old. And that is where I think the conversation should be centered. But when people want to choose and go, he's lying, the good people of Ghana knows. You think if he's lying, if we are lying as a government, you think Twitter would have said, oh, let me go? You think that all these people that are coming into the country will say, let me go and let me use Ghana as my place to establish my base? They know the numbers, they know the statistics. Sometimes
I think Twitter and all those people are going based off the work we did on infrastructure.
I mean, I don't have a problem with that. It is for the people of Ghana, and somebody has seen it and coming at the time of our they are coming this time. Why didn't they come that time? Right?
Okay.
So that is all good, right? And whether they're coming because of an airport that Mahama built, or they're coming because of a fiber optic, they are coming at the time when we are there as MPP, and we're going to use it as our political tool. So it is very significant, and we have to realize that when we give data, when we give research, there's always a plus or minus. There's always a plus or minus to a research.
Okay.
If we don't know. And that is what the focus should be. Bawumia did not lie. He's thrown the challenge. We didn't expect, and we need a proper response other than these bits and pieces of all that we hear is lying. They haven't done anything, lying. They haven't done anything. But he's taking the credit. And this week, it's been Bawumia. Next week, it's been Bawumia. So before you realize it is, hey, Bawumia, hey, Alan, hey, Alan. That's a wrap up. This is a very great show, and we all should contribute to making it great. In fact, I am enjoying this show every moment I come on. It is very great, and it is providing the platform for MPP to put in our policy that 2024, whether it is Alan Bawumia or Dr. Afriye, we still win the elections and hand over 2025 and continue the good work. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Efa. Thank you so much.
If I should turn his video and let me give my closing comment, please.
Okay, Efa. So come on, listen to.
So my closing comment. I mean, governance is a continuous process, and the issue.
I do want you to address the issue, the fact that, I mean, if you build something and somebody comes to inherit it after you, you really want them to use it for a good purpose, right? That's why you build it to start with.
Of course, that's why
telling you that.
That's why I said government is a continuous process. Okay,
right.
The NDC built infrastructure and started doing the content part of it, but unfortunately, we went out of power.
Right.
NPP came into power. They continue on the content part of it, and still there's a lot to be done in Ghana when it comes to digitization in Ghana. But what surprises me, as I stated on this platform, is that when the super incompetent vice president was giving the lecture and lying to us, the things that he forgot to speak about was $1 arrest. I didn't hear him talking about $1 arrest.
That to DGP.
I didn't hear him talking about eCCTV installation for all police stations. I didn't hear him talking about e-toilet for every house. I didn't hear him talking about E1 million every constituency every year. Neither did I hear him talking about EPDS corruption, which he was part of it.
That is your
and also, I didn't hear him talk about heavy borrowing, which he promised when he was in opposition that they will not borrow. So until the vice president is able to answer to all these I've said, I think, and I'll state ever here that my brother Efa, my brother Daniel, my brother Ato, my brother Dr.
Erasmus Atajemfi.
Dr. Atajemfi, they all have integrity than Vice President Bawumia. So for me, I even have a lot of respect for these people than because the vice president is a continual liar. If I will lie, but if I will not lie to that call, the vice president is known to be a liar, and he's a liar. So if I please tell him that we want him to do the $dollar arrest. He told us he's arrested the dollar, giving the key to the IGP. I don't know whether the IGP, the dollar
IGP. So maybe the old IGP took the key.
No, hold on. I don't know whether the when he arrested the dollar, give the key to the IGP. I don't know that there's a bug in the code that made the dollar to run away. That is why the dollar is shooting up. Yesterday, I sent money and I got it at 6.0. When you go to the black market, it's 6.2 to $1.
He says that he's presided over the lowest depreciation of the currency since
communication. Where we are communication. Communication in a way that suits our agenda.
I want to add my voice to my brother I want to add my voice to my brother. If I think this is a very one of the program that I've really enjoyed. It was not much of politics. It was full of issues and then data and fact. And it's good that we got this learned people over here, and I've learned from everybody over here. As much as my brother Daniel is yet to take his Photoshop class, so that next time we'll be able to identify the difference between a Photoshop and a real picture. Until then, I rest my case. I just told Paul
the show so that it's not everything that is scientific. Some of it is political. So sometimes you see, Paul is also, you understand the game that you are playing. You are a political communicator, right?
But I just want to tell you, apart from you, I think the next strong person in your team is Daniel. Daniel is doing good. He's doing good.
Yeah, Alfred, you see, this is the problem I have with the NDC. I believe in competitive politics because...
Okay, so Daniel, let this be your last words as you conclude. Daniel, I also want to know what you want to leave with the listeners as far as what you're hearing from the vice president is concerned, and what do you think, whether you think is a clear indication of a political strategy that is likely to win him election. Amuzu,
let me just use this example from my NDC folks. That way maybe it makes it better for everybody to relate. Amuzu, you know that if you are not that very good and we put you in a very good school, you know that the fact that you are surrounded by people who are good naturally improves your outcome. Even though you might be the last person in that good school, it improves your outcome because the people that surround you are naturally good. So it forces and it brings the best out of you, even though you might be the last when it comes to that group of people. So the idea of me saying this is to prove to you that competitive politics is good. Competitive politics make sure that political parties take the act of governance very serious. They just don't get up and stand on platform and say stuff. They will research and help our society advance. And that is what I want to see. That is why I always tell the NDC, do you know what we call the gift mix? Have you heard about the gift mix project?
Yeah.
One very important pillar in our governance process that tracks government contract and what is happening across all districts, all MMDAs. The NDC were spearheading that thing. You hear Tekpe saying it, but you never heard the flag bearer who is seeking power and explaining to Ghana what you're using the money, explaining and hitting on that point and trying to let Ghanaians understand why gift mix is so important to our governance system. Do you want me to come and communicate to your president how to communicate?
So just so our listeners, gift mix is really the government's it's an ERP system for the government for accounting, HR, etc. This is the one single shop for all government transactions. So that's what GiveMate is. And currently, I think they're using more of the financial part than the others. That's what.
Yes.
Even if you want to be paid for contract that you've executed on behalf of the government, your what do you call it, warrant or whatever certificate you bring up need to be worked, and the workflow is in GiveMix.
Spearheaded by the NDC. Do you know how that thing is going to help us avoid corruption because we can have audit trail?
Right.
But this is the NDC for you. So if tomorrow Bawumia comes and he increments something on top of that platform and he's communicating that to the public, you want him to come and say, oh, NDC started a gift. He's not communicating for you. He's communicating. That is political strategy. If you can't find a way to communicate your achievement, that is your problem. Don't make it look like it's somebody's problem. And that is the laziness about the NDC. I keep telling them, do not take those things to mean that we will communicate the way you want it. It is our strategy of communication, and this is the way we think that the Ghanaian people will understand what we are doing. Because some of the things are complex. If we want to discuss, talk technical IT thing with you, you will understand it. But my mother in the village will not understand it. So I have to find equivalencies, ways in which I can communicate that thing for them to understand. And that is why you don't get. And Bawumia is very good at that. And for me, I like a candidate, even if your ideas are dumb and you can communicate it to the smartest person to be confused to understand, to win political power. So be it. What is your end goal? To win political power. So if you don't understand these models, that the word operates in this instance, and you think that someone will come and speak in a way that you want to hear, and you think that that is the only way it has to be said, I'm sorry.
And that's why I think that the NDC now responding at the appropriate level to is a missed opportunity.
That is what I'm saying. So it is their problem. So for me, what I want to tell Ghanaians is that we are into politics. The idea we seek to sell out there is that we want to show that we are the better political party when it comes to advancing the cause of our country. That challenge is for NDC to also show you people that they are the better people when it comes to maybe they say infrastructure. But communicate that in a way that you think that people will buy into. That is your responsibility to do. I leave that to you. So tonight, what I want to say is that I'm very much happy about our country. I think that for me, politicians, MPP and NDC, we've done so much harm to ourselves that we don't let the Ghanaian people know the kind of progress we've made as a country. There have been a lot of progress that have been made by different political parties, but we come in and we use NDC, MPP, and we distort the good things that have been done, and then the Ghanaian people do not appreciate where we are coming from, and then we make the people look like we are so hopeless a country that we cannot do things for ourselves. I believe that there are good people in the MPP, there are good people in the NDC. If you bring those people forth to be communicating for you and communicating your ideas, Ghanaians will have confidence in party politics. And I, for instance, tomorrow, I know MPP will not rule forever. If NDC comes and I think that I know Paul Disho, so I know his competency level, and he's leading the NDC cause to bring development to my country, I will not be worried because I know he has the competence to do that.
In the competent hand.
Exactly. And that is what I want to see my country. Because I can't, MPP will not rule forever. Even today that MPP is ruling, am I in government? Do I get paid by government salary? I do not. So
I don't know about that. You're not getting paid. For all that advocacy you are doing for them, if you're not getting paid.
I don't get paid. Like I said, when I went to my school, MPP did not pay for my school fees. So they cannot dictate to me how I speak my mind. That is the level we need to take Ghana to. Some people in political party, they don't have these ideas that Lawrence you have. They don't have this idea that Paul Disho you have. You put those people at the forefront of communication. They are destroying all of you because they are communicating and they are not carrying out the aspiration and the ideas that you guys
not
have.
Effectively communicating.
Effectively, exactly. And that is a problem. So NDC, hey, get your acts together and have a strategy. If you have a strategy, I want that competition. And I think that will make the MPP also sit up. That will make all the other parties sit up.
John Mahama is on a tour in Accra. John Mahama is on a tour in Accra next week. So I would be expecting to hear something.
I want him to respond. Honestly speaking, I want him to respond. For me, a response coming from him will be fitting.
To what? Respond to what?
To the digitalization presentation we've heard from Bawumia. He said that certain lies were told, so we want expositions. We want him to lay claim.
We would weigh that, and if we see that it is necessary for him to respond, I wouldn't even call it a response.
However you want to do it, it's up to you.
We will make it a policy statement, not a response.
Yeah, so, policy statement will even be best.
Yeah, so he will come out and tell what is the way forward and not what is behind us. What is behind us there, I think Sami Jemfi and his people will take care of that. Paul is very good at that, so is legacy.
Yeah, so Alfred, let me wrap up on that. So what I'm saying is that MPP, NDC, Paul,
so 1 minute.
There's no way no matter how good I speak, I'll convince a core NDC person to come and vote for MPP. There's no way you Paul Disho, no matter how good you speak, you convince a core MPP person to come and vote for NDC. There are people in the middle ground who don't care about MPP, NDC. Let your communication be targeted at those people, those reasonable minds. Like, what do you call it? Atto, I don't see him too much. He doesn't even speak for MPP too much.
Hey, Dr. Atto is an MPP. He's an MPP man. I'm telling you.
He speaks his mind.
He has MPP card. He has MPP card in his pocket.
He speaks his mind. People let your communication be targeted to people like if you can convince somebody like Imani Boss, somebody like Bentel, somebody like what is the other
Bentel.
All those are MPP boys. They are all MPP boys.
What about you take any neutral person? If you can convince those neutral person, then you are making a headway in terms of communication. But if you're not convincing them, I'm sorry, you will talk your NDC base will be happy. At the end of the day, to come at it is 48%, 49%, you will be there forever and ever and ever and ever.
All right. The same way you feel like the NDC shouldn't tell you how you should what they should do.
Correct.
This is free consultancy. I just gave them free consultancy.
You are the same person saying they shouldn't tell you how you talk about your achievements.
It's advice. It's advice. If somebody gives you an advice,
taking so that you stop talking to them.
If somebody gives you advice, if you want, take it. If you don't like, leave it. It's just an advice.
But you went to the sense of start telling that they should not give you advice.
So we didn't.
Alfred,
we didn't take any of the things he said. Any of the things he said, we didn't take it.
I'm done, Alfred. Thank you so much.
Let's listen to Dr.
Thank you so much. I really
appreciate everybody.
MPP communicator who is hiding himself behind the scene. Let's listen to him.
All right, let's talk about Erasmus. Let's go to Erasmus first. Dr. Jeffrey, I think Dr. Ato, I think your internet is stable now, so I would like to hold you. I usually want to hear you for the last, because the consensus is you don't speak too much for the party, so it's good to have that neutral voice.
No, he's not neutral. Mr. Musi, he's not neutral. Please.
But let's go to Dr. Erasmus first so that he can give us, I think, Erasmus, this is your third, is it your second time or third time on the show? So you're also ranking mileage, and we appreciate you for coming all the time.
Before the doctor speaks, I wish that Dr. Lawrence and my friend Paul and Daniel would wait for what I have to say.
Oh, I'm waiting. No, I'm waiting.
Yeah, they're all waiting for your take. So okay, so Dr. Erasmus, let's hear from you. Do you think for me, I think Bawumia has taken a small part of the whole digital transformation that countries are undertaking, and he spoke to it as if he's speaking to the whole thing. In fact, what he's talking about is just the content. He's not even talking about getting the user to be able to adopt this technology. He hasn't touched that. He's not talking about, so he's not talking about getting the government. I know the legislations are passed. We even have the cybersecurity one that just went. He's not talking, he didn't even address that, the governance and the enabling system, the tax structure, the platforms, because we're going to need platforms for sharing. He hasn't addressed that, but he's taking the little government ones, the ones that government is able to do. But clearly, the assessments we are having from the international community is saying that what we really need is broadband subscription increment. We need broadband subscriptions to increase. He's not addressed that. So is the government really applying excessive government ability to procure systems and applications and taunt that as achievements in digitization when the bigger other aspect of digitization is really not being paid attention to?
I would say they haven't done that. There's a lack of penetration in that space in our country. And so they are using all the tools they could, and they could only speak to it at a high level. What he did was communicate at a very high level for what they are trying to do. And it's the telecommunications companies who need to take this forth and really build on it. He couldn't have done a lecture that kind of like, he's talking like, and sometimes because he has that background, sometimes he's just like a professor. So, he's going to give you super high level, and you need to go back and look at the content and the backdrop of it and what's behind it all, what's in the textbook. So, he's put a high level stuff out there. There's stuff that could be done from the government perspective, and then the real players.
I'm saying even the high level stuff is not embracive of the entire ecosystem of things that are required or the pillars, the enablers for digital transformation to occur. He's narrowing it down to a small aspect of content development, which it's important, but it is not.
At this point, that's what we really need. We don't have that.
Right.
We don't have that. We don't have the content development, and we don't have the broadband expansion that we look. I'll give you a typical example. This is my personal example. I'm in Ghana. I live at Spintex. Vodafone comes to my area, or we want to bring internet to the area, and they are like, what, 50 feet away from my house. I'm like, I need your internet, because I had people saying, oh, you guys can do this for me. They said, we don't have a pole closer to your house, so we can't do it. Okay? The telecommunications companies are not coming to forth. They're not coming to the table to do the right things. Those are the ones that we need to kick their butt on. What Dr. Bawumia is trying to do is just try to sensitize the public, get people excited about it, and then the telecommunications can grab the space. Look, I tell you, a company like Vodafone, they've done this before as Ghana Telecom. They collapsed, they had to be sold, or the hula baloo about it. All those things, they are not very proactive. They need government to do that. And that's what I would encourage. To your point, that's what I encourage government to do more of, instead of just not just the talk shop. They've talked about all the nice things, what they are doing. The government need to push all these people more.
Businesses,
of course, they can't do
work with them. Yeah, push them.
Yeah, push them more. Push them, kick their butt more. Hey, do this, you gotta do this, gotta do that. We need you to do this. Government probably needs to set some quotas for them to achieve all those things. Right. Now, number two, you're saying he's taking too much credit. Maybe, but it's politics.
Right.
Okay.
It is politics.
This is all politics. He's trying to be president. So it's possible he's taking some type of credit. He probably hasn't given credit to the things that NEC did in the past, because we did not start from a vacuum. We did not start from ground zero. We didn't. Right. Fact of the matter. Things were done Rawlings era. Things were done Kufuor era. Things were done Mahama era. Albeit they didn't get to a true implementation point that could show some real type of results, and you could measure them. We as the party, we as MPP right now have gotten to the point where we can do stuff that can be measured. And that's why he's talking about it, and that's why NDC is hurt. I'm sorry. I don't think it's fair to say
they have not done. I think NDC has done things that could be measured as well. So it's not fair to say.
Well, they did not. Well, I'm sure somebody mentioned it.
Maybe they probably did not come in. That's what we are all faulting them for, right? If they're not selling themselves, nobody's gonna sell them.
Nobody's gonna sell you. You sell you.
Yeah,
right? You sell you. Nobody sells you.
Yeah.
So this is where we are. This is where we are at. Bawumia is done great. He's pushing something that needs to be pushed, and I bet you he's one of a kind. Okay. He's one of a kind simply because he's pushing something that's like dirty. All right, not dirty because it's bad, but he's pushing something that people don't like to push. All right, people don't like to push digitization. People don't like to push IT because IT is like so much in the background. But you and I know that IT drives everything. Everybody,
you have to have a good understanding and be able to translate those understandings.
Exactly. And he's driving
impact, social impact, etc. for people, Yeah,
he's not pushing the easy thing. He's pushing something that's real difficult and really technically difficult to understand. So I'm glad that he's been able to do it, to get to this point where people get to talk about it. When people get to talk about it, you know what that means? People are understanding it.
Well, a key ingredient of success for countries like ours in transforming their countries using digitization is commitment of the government. Commitment of government and government championing it. So it is.
When you read the textbooks, they tell you support from the top.
Tone from the top. Yeah.
Support from the top. When you do an ERP system, any IT person knows when you have support from the top, everything gets done right. And that's what we are doing as a government right now. And that's why we are talking about this right now. I'm not sure even 5-6 years we will be talking about this then, because we are so engrossed in different things and but look, the country is doing great. And we are talking about IT right now. Dude, we've come a long way. We've done
Well, people are saying that he's talking about things that are half baked, right? Some of the things, like for instance, the tax filing application, all those things, they are not ready, but he's there yobbing about them. That is because there's a story.
It's ready. It's ready. I'll tell you it's ready.
Because there's a story that needed to be killed. There's Brony, whatever Brony. That
Alfred, I'll tell you truth. Truth be told, I have. You know, I have an accounting practice here.
Yeah.
Much like you do. I have a small practice in Ghana, and we do some type of taxes. All right, it is operational. It is operational. The taxing is operational.
Okay,
the taxing is operational. I'm telling you.
How about the mobile one?
This is
on. So basically, you are saying that
mobile. I don't care about mobile. If I can do it, if I can do it on the desktop through the internet. It is freaking mobile.
Yeah, but what he said was that they're building an application that will make it easy for all citizens to use their mobile phones to be able to file their tax returns. And I'm saying that okay, so he's saying all these things. There are so many of the things that he said, not necessarily just that one. For instance, he talks about the motor insurance database, which just roll on online. He's talking about the marine insurance database, which hasn't even started yet. But for instance, even the motor insurance database, this is something that was being worked on since 2015. So the way he talked about them sometimes sounds like he's taking credit for all these things, and some of the things that are not even there, he's bringing them forth, and it almost sounds like I need a story out there because there is a story I don't want you talking about. And we are saying that perhaps it could be because of the Bruni.
To your point.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alfred.
Forget about look, listen. Look, don't miss the issues. So what Bruni or whoever her name is, it's not Bawumia's fault.
No, don't say whoever her name is. You know her name. Her name is
no, wait. Let me finish.
You know her name is Sewa Bruni, so just mention that.
Let me just finish. Look, look, we are.
We'll end on this one quickly. Yeah.
Words, but I'm not going to waste my time on somebody who's depressed. Okay. All right, I'm not going to waste my time on somebody who's depressed and needs medication.
Just as NDC,
where she was in our national security setup, that person has a presence with our president, as we've seen in pictures. For that person to be someone who's depressed,
you know I got pictures. You know I got pictures with
not in Air Force One, not in Ghana's Air Force One.
I'm just telling you this.
And you are saying she's depressed.
Not in Air Force One, and you are not definitely depressed.
Wait. And I'll tell you a little background. I got pictures of Akufo-Addo.
The presidential
It
jet.
was a mere picture.
In a presidential
I
jet.
didn't with him. I didn't do anything. It was just a mere picture. He gave a lecture. I asked the president, Mr. President, can I take a picture? He said, yes, Mr. Young Man, I can do that. We took a picture. I had a long conversation.
Do you know how many people that presidential jets can carry?
I don't know. I haven't been on the presidential jet before.
17 and 14, depending on the time of the day they are flying, right? 17 and 14. Okay, so
look. So let's not digress. Let me just say this.
No, we are not digressing. We are discussing Sewa Bruni now.
Let's not digress. Look, I'm not interested in that.
Dr. Tajefi, we are not digressing. We are discussing Sewa Bruni now. So we are on topic.
I'm not interested in discussing somebody who's depressed until she can show me that she's no longer depressed and she's getting treatment for her sickness. I don't want to discuss it. So let's move on to the real facts of the issue. Yeah. So let's say, look, I'm just saying we are doing something right. That's why we get to talk about technology. Technology is so obscure, and for us to be talking about it, we are doing something right.
Right. Okay.
And we can call Bawumia all the names that you want, but this is important for us to be able to talk about technology. Look, big organizations. I work for JP Morgan Chase. Big organizations don't even want to talk about technology because it's so obscure. Managers don't understand some of the terms. It's like, you know what? It's complex.
Right. Okay. Great. I don't know how we lost Dr. Jemfi's feed there, but
So
yeah.
hey, we're doing something right. What we are doing, look, Bawumia is not taking credit. And I want to make one last point. If he's saying something is operational, he's probably saying, I've given you a plug-in. You can go on and plug it in. All right? I'm giving you a plug-in. You get your system right, you plug in, it's going to work for you. And that's what he's saying. He's not saying anything extra. He's not doing anything extraordinary. He gets to take credit for it.
He says he's doing
getting the plugin to be operational.
Okay.
You know how this is, Alfred. You know this. Look, let's use our experiences. You know this. To get it ready, to get it online, to get it live, and to say, hey, if you are ready with your software, with your tool, you can plug in and you can make it work. He's good to go.
Right. Okay. I'd like to ask, and then stick around and answer this for me too.
I can. Yeah.
Okay. So this is gonna go. I told you just drop again. So I'm gonna ask the question, and you can all chime in a little bit, but I want Ato to come in on that strongly. One of the things the president really, the vice president discussed was that because of the digitization they are doing with the motor insurance database and all that, it's going to reduce fraud from somebody putting a fake insurance on their car, from a police taking bribe instead of looking at a legit insurance for the police to be able to verify, for even individual drivers to be able to validate instantly the validity of insurance information that they are presented with instantly on the street, on the go. That is huge. It's transformational. It's revolutionary. But one thing that he hasn't talked about is all of a sudden the cybersecurity implications these things can bring. All right. If we all have our personal identifiers, like the healthcare records that he talked about, they are interlinked, and the hospitals can have access regardless of which hospitals. There is a cybersecurity component, which means that there's only one single point of failure, and somebody has access to a national database, and boom, everything is compromised.
Yes, like Dan said, he chooses what he wants to talk about.
Right.
And it's very political. Like I said, before Bawumia, I thought Mahama was the best thing that we've had since sliced bread. The way he expressed himself and everything. Like I said, Bawumia knows that the economy is not doing well. He knows that very, very well. He knows that maybe Alan has a chance to talk about what he's doing. But he has an advantage, the way he's able to communicate to people. Yes. I mean, it's sad that before everything, I thought that the NDC had Tepe, who I listen to a lot. I think he's a very smart, intelligent man.
Right.
But he doesn't come out to say anything.
But he doesn't speak when he's the communication skills, like you said.
Yes. He doesn't come out to say, I mean,
people
if you listen to Tepe and analysis, you think that, yes, this man is really bright.
Very smart,
NDC is not utilizing him. Then I thought that Mahama would be the messiah of communications. Now I saw him, there's a video with him counting his fingers about what he did. I let them this, I let them that. I'm like, no, that's not like how you're supposed to communicate. So, I feel going forward, the NDC, including Dr. Lawrence, should respond to Bawumia, should find a way to respond to Bawumia and stop talking about all those Sawa Bruni stuff. It would not get them votes. It did not get MPP.
It's equally important too because of the national security implications.
Do you have any evidence to that they have affected national security? You don't know.
Here is a woman, I think Dr. Atajenfi just described as emotionally unstable, right?
Yes.
Where she's able to have access to the president on the presidential jet with pictures.
But
we are letting people who are emotionally unstable.
You heard one side of a story. You don't know the full story.
They do bring the videos. National security one.
Be careful.
They don't have anything.
for you to actually be on the same plane with the president, there has to be some vettings. There has to be. What was his role there? What was she doing there? I mean, these are national security situations.
That is a good question to ask. By now, if they are a serious party, I should be expecting somebody in parliament to be asking those questions.
Your president was so. Nana Akufo-Addo was the one who was found on the presidential jet. So
I also want answers. I don't want.
You're in the right place to ask the right questions.
No, I'm not going to speak that for them. They should be. They have MPs in parliament.
It's not for NDC. This is national security.
They are interested in it. I don't want to communicate that. They want to communicate that. Let them do what they have.
If Mahama becomes president and he's taking.
I'll hold a press conference and bring the issue up. But they are being lazy, like I said. They are being lazy talking about issues at the wrong forum. When the right forum is there for you to bring up the issue.
You know what NDC they are picking and choosing what would favor them.
Right.
Because there's nobody in the NDC right now who would be able to stand Bawumia. Like I said, he's doing something small with a big heart. He knows he cannot fix the economy, so he's doing something small with a big heart. There's nothing wrong with that. Right. The NDC as a political party should just focus on stuff like this because they know in 2024 Bawumia is. I mean, how can you not bring Bawumia? I don't know why the NPP would even think about anybody else. He has rented space in the minds of NDC.
Everybody's mind, and that's what I say that unless you're not following politics, you would think the NPP has already.
They have.
Yeah, who is leading them? And so the NDC shouldn't even think that it's going to be somebody else. They should be strategizing to respond to Bawumia going forward. And I even hear it in their own statement when they try to tie Bawumia to every field and say, Dr. Bawumia and this thing. That is the way to go. So if you already know that, and that person came out to speak, I think you should respond properly.
Exactly my point. Yeah. I think that some of these things they discussed that Dr. Lawrence writes about this lady. I mean, Dr. Lawrence is learned. He should respond to Bawumia. He should come up. I mean, there are people in NDC, including I forgot his name. He came up with. I mean, I listened to NDC folks. They are really good in expressing good views and good analysis, but they are unable. Like I said, Bawumia speaks. He runs space in their minds so much that it's like they have diarrhea all of a sudden. That they have to come and respond in a way to discredit him. I feel like Bawumia has not been able to fix the economy, but he's able to communicate better. So much that my grandmother in the village understands him. So what he's doing is he's doing something small with a big heart, and people would buy into that. The last point is I really admire the divergent opinions on this platform, and I always Paul would say that I'm part of the MPP. I'm not, but I know very well that in 2024 there's going to be a really good chance that Bawumia would stand up tall just because of what he's doing. The NDC should come up, stand up tall, and face Bawumia squarely. For some of us academicians to be able to assess and see how some of these things go. Otherwise, all this Yabruni or Sewal Bruni talk they're talking about would not take them anywhere. Ghana will be a great country no matter who runs it. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining, and thanks for the time you always give us to deliberate issues concerning Ghana and your views on some of the pertinent things we talk about here. So I think that's it, right? Everybody give their last opinion.
Alfred,
yes.
I mean, with this digitization thing that Bawumia is talking about, we need him to take off some of the nuisance taxes on our import duties.
Okay.
Very, very, very important.
Okay.
Because right now, if you take a car to Ghana, chances are that you're going to pay way, way, way more than how much you even bought a car in the United States or in the UK. Right. So it's very important that with this digitization that Dr. Bawumia is saying, if he can take if he can take all the nuisance taxes from our import duties, that will help. And then number two,
I've seen a breakdown and you can see
I mean you could see that they are just stealing from the people in the diaspora.
Right.
And then number two, I mean, with this digitization that Bawumia is talking about, if they can cancel the COVID-19 test that they do at the airport for the 150.
But don't you think that is very important for keeping away perhaps people who may be infected? Because
no. I mean, come on.
You mean reduce the price or stop
no,
testing
stop
completely?
it completely. I mean,
Alfred,
Alfred, you and I know.
Thing to do.
Alfred, you and I, even when we do the COVID test here, 2 days before we go to Ghana,
right?
The government of Ghana is telling the world that they don't trust the test that we did here, and that is why they are doing an antigen test at the airport and taking 150 from us.
Right
now, when we are coming back to the United States, we do a COVID test there, and when we get to the United States, the United States government believes and accepts and trusts the test that we did in Ghana. That bogus machine they are using over there. The United States government even accepts that one. Right. And so when you come to the United States, you don't do any test again. Right. All you do is just walk through immigration and customs. Sorry, you walk through.
So in other words, what you're saying is that the test should be one test, which is what is done at the port of embarkation, where you embark.
No, when you are going to, when you are traveling, I mean the airport, the airlines want you to do COVID test 3 days, 72 hours before you fly, right? And these are quality machines that they use here. And yet the government of Ghana is saying they don't trust the machines that we use here to do our COVID test. And that is why they want us to do another test, charging us $150 to do that antigen test. Antigen test is just antigen test. It's just $10. At most, it's $15. But they are charging us $150. You see. But then when we are coming back to the United States and we use that bogus machine they use there to test us for COVID, the United States government accepts that test and say we just walk through customs and then we are out of the airport. You understand? So it is very clear that there is a wide variation between the government of Ghana and the government of the United States or UK. And so with this thing that Dr. Bawumia is doing, if he can look into that aspect of it, so they can take off, because if I get my test here, you don't expect that within 3 days I contracted something, and even if I come to Ghana, I mean within that 3 days you would detect you would detect that thing over there. You know, it's they are just stealing from us. So and Alfred, this week Dr. Bawumia spoke, and for that matter, we've talked about it. Next week he wouldn't speak, so we can go back to our Sewa Bruni and talk about the security implications of that.
I'm sure Mahamudu very important. Come and react to what we hear from Mahamudu.
Very, very important, because we can't let Sewa Bruni go like that. We are carrying it all the way to 2024.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. Okay.
If Daniel likes it or not, I am carrying it all the way, and I'm with him on so many platforms. I will be sending it there. Sewa Bruni.
So we can talk about it. You are releasing an article this week. You were going to tell us what it is going to be.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about who actually should develop the country.
Okay.
And I would cite examples like Kaka. Kaka in Nigeria was just projecting the things that the government is not doing, and as a result of that, he was killed. And then I'll talk about the Aflao chief, that he said the government should come and just finish with the 90% completion of a school building. So by February, when schools reopen, his children can find a place. And then he said that, and Nana Akufo-Addo went to Peace FM and insulted him, insulted all the chiefs in a Volta region, and insulted the people of Volta region. And then last but not the least, we know of Honorable Francis Osu, he demonstrated with his people that they should fix his road, and now
he broke the law in the process.
That's what they are saying. So because of that, they have even left the purpose for his
somebody break the law. Don't you think the person should be dealt with?
No. Break the law, deal with it, and then the government should rather concentrate on fixing the road for the people of Medina.
But he, as a parliamentarian,
and then leave the parliamentary and leave Sosu and the police to the police.
Right.
That is what I'm saying. But right now we've left the contractor and the road unattended, and the media is only interested in Honorable Francis Sasu and the police.
I thought the Green Book said most of our roads were fixed. Today we are talking about
most. We didn't say all.
And the Medina road was not part of it, and yet the people returned
most. We didn't say all. But you said year 2020 was year of roads. What have you done to Medina?
Oh, don't worry.
Didn't you say 2020 was year of roads?
That's why the Medina people didn't vote for us. Now why are they worried?
you see this Daniel guy. That is how he talks on the platform. So he talks and then you get angry. It's like, what is this guy talking about? You see,
but he's just been a consummate politician, right?
Because as for Kakape, I know Kakape is very ignorant on so many things. So when he talks, I don't even mind him. But as for Daniel, he's very clever. I mean, I know him. I've been meeting him on so many other areas. So when Daniel talks, you have to pay attention to him. But he talks and makes you angry, just like his boss, Dr. Bawumia. Dr. Bawumia talk and it makes you angry because you know what he's saying is not the truth. But then he will say it. Anyway, it has been a very good 3 hours and 40 minutes. Yes. And next week, we'll definitely talk about Sewa Bruni.
Thank you so much. You were the first to join the show today, and you are the last to give your final comments. And I really appreciate it, Doctor.
At least I need an award.
You do. I appreciate the commitment to the show and, your commitment to your party and canvassing their position all the time. We really appreciate that. People like you make the country, a peaceful place because you show that we can actually agree to disagree on very topical issues and you participate in it to the fullest. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
We'll be looking forward to the article as you release them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely.
All right. So everybody, that's the show for today. In summary, I think digital transformation is huge. It's very required for countries' development going forward, especially ours. And so many empirical studies like the vice president quoted, states that especially the developing countries, what we really needed is, getting our people to adopt the usage of the systems. And of course, there's ambiguities of, access. In other words, there are satellite systems that can project, access or cover areas and give data to even the remotest of villages. So it's not necessarily fiber optics. So there are so many other ways that we can provide access to our people, but having them adopt it, having them use it to accomplish government political or policies and being able to achieve their own financial freedom. Being able to, train themselves to get employment in sectors that are empowered by ICT or using ICT as a vector of productivity to help us be more productive, be able to have people work from home like we do here. All that is key for development. Dr. Bawumia is discussing the content, which is also very key. The content applications that are developed locally and how that leads to adoption of new technologies like blockchain, artificial intelligence. He emphasized analytics or data analytics, which is going to be a big part going forward. I think all those are important for us to realize our digitization or digital transformation of our country so that we can become competitive and continue to grow our economy. Thanks for watching the show. If this is the first time you're watching us, please subscribe to the show. Every week, we come in and discuss some of the most important topics and topical issues affecting Ghana. This I would chop into short versions and post during the week. I'm going to do some cleaning up, editing work to make that possible. So if you haven't caught them all, no worry. They are coming to you in small bites. I really appreciate all my guests for stopping by. Dr. Erasmus Atajemfi, Dr. Lawrence Appiah, Dr. Ato Kwamina Danso, Paul Disosu of the NDC, and Daniel Nanayao Amponsa of the MPP and Lifetime Legacy for joining me to discuss this very important topic. On that note, I said goodbye and enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks for watching us. We really appreciate it. Please don't forget to subscribe, share the link so that your friends, loved ones who may also benefit from all the education that happens on this platform week by week basis continue to take place. By your subscriptions, we know that you are watching us. We know that you are appreciating the things that we are saying, and we'll continue to generate the content. Like we said, the more content we have there, of course, you watching and you sharing would trigger the network effect that will make this show go from strength to strength. We really appreciate you for watching. Again, my name is Alfred Amuzu. Next week, we are going to be offline. We will not be coming next week because I have something on Saturday, an exam to take on Saturday, actually. Now, so we'll see. We'll see about that. Even if anything happen huge that requires me to come, I will come back and announce that, and we'll see if we can do that. But otherwise, the plan is that we wouldn't have a show next week. But the one we had today, we have a lot of material. We are going to chop that up and rebroadcast. Thanks for watching. Again, my name is Alfred Amuzu, and you're watching the Ghana Agenda. If it is Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 6 p.m. GMT, you know it's the Ghana Agenda time. Please join us, and you would enjoy all the wisdom, all the great discussions that my guests come to deliver on this show. Thank you so much. We would see you, if not next week, a week after. On that note, this is the Ghana Agenda for today, the 6th of November, 2021. We'll see you next week.
Just one more pic, JJ, please.
Oh, Mama, really?
Smile. It's not every day my eldest son graduates.
I couldn't have done it without you.
All without Auntie Jane's generous support.
Here is to Auntie Jane's well-appreciated World Remit money transfers.
World Remit Corporation is licensed as a money transmitter by the New York State Department of Financial Services, as a foreign transmittal agency by the Massachusetts Division of Banks, number FT 1179663, and licensed by the Georgia Department of Banking and Finance, NMLS 1179663.